Chapter 1664. Luo Fei, who was in charge of receiving the guest, also apologized to the guest and quickly went to the gatehouse. My apologies, Overlord Knight. It was Luo Fei's fault. It's not wrong for you guys to guard the place carefully, but it's your fault for not reporting in time. Go and receive your punishment. Remember not to report when Overlord Knight comes in the future. He is Lord Father's honored guest, and also a good friend of mine. Luo Fei first cupped his hands in apology to Yi Shang, then took care of the guard's mistake. Vice Palace Lord Luo is too polite. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Palace Lord Lin is here. Forgive me for not going out to meet you. Luo Fei cupped his hands and gestured for Lin Qixing to enter. Not bad. You have your father's style. Lin Qixing glanced at Luo Fei and nodded. We'll take your words as a compliment. Palace Lord Lin, Overlord Knight, please come in. Luo Yuandao appeared and invited Lin Qixing and Knight Sorrow into the residence with a smile. Vice Palace Lord Luo has taken on a heavy responsibility. Knight Sorrow is here to congratulate you. Knight Sorrow placed 2 bags of tea and 2 jars of wine on the table. Overlord Knight, it's better if you call me Luo Fei. It's too distant to call me Vice Palace Lord, Luo Fei said. All right, today, I'm here to congratulate Brother Luo. Knight Sorrow nodded. Knight Sorrow, you're also an overlord now. You only brought 2 bags of tea and 2 jars of wine to congratulate us? Aren't you worried that Palace Lord Luo will say that our shadow residence doesn't lack 2 bags of broken leaves and 2 jars of yellow soup? Lin Qixing found a seat and sat down. Lin Qixing, are you purposely making things difficult for us? Knight Sorrow, don't mind it. Everyone take a seat. Luo Yuandao gestured for Knight Sorrow and Dechira to sit down before sitting down. I feel that the shadow residence doesn't lack anything, so I only brought 2 bags of tea and 2 jars of wine from my hometown. It's enough as long as it's a token of my sincerity, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Come, make the tea brought by Lord Yi, and let some people taste the broken leaves. Fei-er, sit down. Father is here to receive the guests for you. Luo Yuan waved his hand to the servants, and then nodded to Luo Fei, who was standing to the side. Luo Fei called for a servant to serve Ji Dao before sitting down. After the heart-cleansing tea was brewed, Luo Fei poured a cup for everyone and then slowly tasted the tea himself. After drinking a mouthful of tea, Lin Qixing closed his eyes to feel it. After a short while, he opened his eyes, and the first thing he did was to grab the heart-cleansing tea on the table. Luo Yuandao stretched out his right hand to press down the unopened packet of heart-cleansing tea, while Lin Qixing directly took away the open packet with his left sleeve. Lin Qixing, can you be more shameless? Not only did you not bring a gift, you even tried to snatch it? Luo Yuandao roared at Lin Qixing. It's just tea. Your Luo Yuandao doesn't care. Good things should be shared with everyone. Lin Qixing ignored Luo Yuandao's gaze and threw the open packet of tea into his storage ring after wrapping it up. He did everything so calmly. Luo Yuandao ignored Lin Qixing and put away the wine beside him. Lord Yi, you have to remember to guard against fire and theft against Qixing. Luo Yuandao, you can't ruin my reputation like this, right? Lin Qixing looked at Luo Yuandao and said, Do you have a reputation? At the very least, you don't have a reputation in Shadow Mansion. Luo Yuandao said, I'm leaving. Lord Yi, come to Qixing Mansion as a guest when you have time. Lin Qixing got up and left without even looking at Luo Yuandao. Luo Yuandao didn't see Lin Qixing off. Instead, he explained to Yi Shang with a smile, Overlord Yi, don't mind this scoundrel. Although we often argue, we're still friends. He's just like that. I can see that. He's casual because we're familiar with each other. Knight Sorrow nodded with a smile. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow and Dechira returned to Night Moon Manor with Ji Dao. Lin Qixing's visit to Shadow Mansion was a form of congratulations. Luo Yuandao was also very clear about this. When Knight Sorrow was practicing his spear at night, Ji Dao came to report that 7 Stars Mansion Master Lin Qixing had requested to see him. He had already brought him to Night Moon Manor's waterside pavilion. Why is he here? I'll go take a look. Night Sorrow greeted Lin Xian, and Dachira, who were chatting by the side, and went to the waterside pavilion in front of Night Moon Manor. Lin Qixing stood up and cupped his fists when he saw Night Sorrow. Mansion Master Lin, please excuse me for not going out to welcome you. Night Sorrow said. I'm sorry to disturb you at this late hour. I'll get straight to the point. My father passed away at a young age, and I only have one mother. My mother loves tea and was full of praises after drinking Lord Ye's tea today. Lin Qixing said. No problem. I only have 2 packets for now. I'll prepare more for Mansion Master Lin later. Night Sorrow took out 2 more packets of heart-cleansing tea and gave them to Lin Qixing. You're looking down on Mansion Master Yi by saying that you'll pay for it. I'm leaving. After keeping the tea, Lin Qixing left Night Moon Manor in a flash. Night Sorrow smiled and left the waterside pavilion. However, he saw Lin Xian and Dachira walking over. Luo Yuandao is right. 7 stars should be wary of fire and theft. Isn't this robbery? Dachira said. As a son, I'm willing to take care of things for my mother. I can even say that I don't care about my face. This is filial piety. Night Sorrow shook his head with a smile. He really didn't mind and admired Lin Qixing. Luo, Lin Qixing doesn't take anyone's things. He won't accept anything from someone he doesn't like because he thinks that Night Sorrow can do it. That's why he doesn't bother about trifles. Lin Xian explained Lin Qixing's way of doing things. In terms of understanding of the 7 Mansion Masters of the Ethereal Empire, Lin Xian was second to none. Someone once said that a filial person can't be too bad. Lin Qixing's eyes are sharp but innocent. He should be a maverick. Dachira said. In the next 2 days, the City Lord residents sent out a decree. The Shadow Mansion Master, Luo Yuandao, was also the enforcement elder of the Ethereal City Lord residents, and was in charge of handling the matters of the Ethereal Empire. Night Sorrow didn't find this matter strange because Lin Xian had already predicted it that day. Night Sorrow came to congratulate him again. At the same time, the God-slaying team arrived at the Night Moon Villa. Night Sorrow's 2 disciples, Ning Yun and Qi Yue, also came. Night Sorrow held a banquet for them. Night Sorrow was especially happy. He clinked glasses with each of his brothers and drank. Long Jin, Lei Bao, Lei Zheng, Yin Huang, Ho Jian, Shui Ling, Nin Liu, Ling Long, and Qian Zui were all brothers and sisters that he valued. There was no need to mention Qin Zhen, who was his earliest brother. 13th brother, I thought you didn't care about us anymore. Tianyu, who was sitting beside Night Sorrow, said softly. That's right. I haven't seen 13th brother in a long time. Yimei's eyes were a little red. You guys are thinking too much. I just came to the celestial realm and didn't have a firm foothold. If there was danger, I wouldn't dare to bring you guys here. You guys are my brothers and sisters. How can I not care about you? Night Sorrow turned around and hugged Tianyu and Yimei. Look, F authentic. Chapter 1, Unspecified Currency. Zilin Xian who was standing in the distance, looked at the group of people drinking with shock in her eyes. Azure Rock Bloodline, Nine-Tailed Fox Bloodline, and Top Dragon's Bloodline. What kind of bloodline is this? Chapter 1665. Whether it was the Azure Rock Bloodline, the Nine-Tailed Fox Bloodline, or the Top Dragon's Bloodline, any one of them was enough to scare people to death. Void World. Just how many people have planted seeds in the new Void World? Lin Xian muttered to herself before disappearing into the night. The battlefield of our rise has shifted to the celestial realm, but to be honest, we are all trash, so we have to endure and develop our strength. Don't go out looking for trouble. Long Jin, look after them. Night Sorrow said to Long Jin. Captain, everyone is very obedient. Long Jin said with a smile. At this time, Long Jin was really rising rapidly. He was already a 6-star king. Look at the original chapter section above Q with Night Sorrow's help. The accumulation of energy was not a problem for everyone in the God-slaying squad. Even time was not a problem. Because of the auxiliary body of the Clear Sky Pagoda, Everyone had to pay attention to the increase of their realm. Hong, Yi, and Lan are the housekeepers here. If there's anything you need, you can look for them. If there's anything you don't understand about cultivation, you can look for me or Luo. Also, Chiyue, pay attention to your rest. If you don't pay attention, you will become a grandmaster. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Chiyue was currently pregnant. After leaving, Night Sorrow entered the Dragon Cauldron and refined a batch of Star Moon Lake imprints. It was only a small array sign. After refining it, Night Sorrow injected the void energy, causing the square-inch imprint to emit a faint purple light. Night Sorrow took the purple imprint and gave it to Dechira. Luo, distribute it to everyone. Send a batch to my master as well. Tell him that those who are not from the Primal Chaos realm are not to touch this thing. Night Sorrow gave the gold spirit an order. If cultivators with malicious intent or killing intent entered the Night Moon Villa, the Star Moon Lake imprint would distinguish between friend and foe. In addition, the gold spirit could distinguish between hostility and non-hostility. Night Sorrow was just reminding them. On this Night Sorrow, while guiding Ning Yun and the members of the God-slaying squad in their cultivation, he suddenly stopped moving. Flames appeared on his head, and below the flames was a black whirlpool filled with wind energy. Step back, don't get close. Jinling, protect me. Dechira shouted. Lin Xian'er also appeared. Soul, extinguishing flame, destructive divine wind. This is the wind-fire tribulation of the Emperor realm. After speaking, Lin Xian'er left the Night Moon Villa in a flash. After leaving the Night Moon Villa, Lin Xian'er arrived at the teleportation array as quickly as she could and started the teleportation. She was teleporting towards the Heaven's Vault tribe. She knew that Night Sorrow's original body had made a breakthrough towards the 9th stage. At this time, no one would disturb him, because Night Sorrow was the center of the laws of heaven and earth during the tribulation. But what about after the tribulation? After successfully passing the tribulation, the man-made tribulation would arrive. Lin Xian'er was worried that the Heaven's Vault tribe would make things difficult for Night Sorrow. They would invite Night Sorrow to join the Heaven's Vault tribe. If he refused, it would be a disaster. According to Night Sorrow's character, it was impossible for him to join. Lin Xian'er's doppelganger set off first, followed by her original body. She was prepared for a big battle. If the High Priest of the Heaven's Vault tribe made a move, she would fight with all her strength. Night Sorrow, who was cultivating at the Heaven's Vault cliff, originally had the fastest advancement of his will of destruction. He had already entered the 5-star king realm. After all, it was the sole power of a half-step emperor, so the comprehension of his will was fast. Next was the advancement of his domain of nothingness. As for the space-time attribute, it had always been a bottleneck. However, just as Night Sorrow was stabilizing his cultivation, the baleful Earth Chi appeared at the top of the Heaven's Vault cliff. A cycle of violent impact collided with the energy in the void, producing space-time destruction. Watching the destruction of space-time, Night Sorrow broke through the bottleneck of the space-time attribute. After breaking through the bottleneck of the space-time attribute, Night Sorrow's comprehension was unstoppable. The 7th Bloodline Talent Energy point was activated, and the space momentum burst forth. Even the time momentum appeared and began to revolve around Night Sorrow. The space-time attribute Heaven and Earth momentum formed the space-time domain. As Night Sorrow's 7th Bloodline Talent Energy point continued to release the Heaven and Earth momentum, Night Sorrow's space-time domain became more and more mature. In less than 7 days, he completed the transition from the generation of Heaven and Earth momentum to 10%, crossing the threshold of the Emperor realm. At this time, the members of the Heaven's Vault cliff who had received the news also arrived. They didn't intend to do anything to Night Sorrow. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't do anything at this time. Because the laws of heaven and earth were irreversible, Night Sorrow's Emperor realm tribulation had arrived. It was the soul extinguishing flame and the destruction divine wind. Any one of them would be fatal, so no one dared to approach. Night Sorrow sat there cross-legged, surrounded by the destruction divine wind and enveloped by the soul extinguishing flame. Whether it was the destruction divine wind or the soul extinguishing flame, once it entered the body, it would be obliterated and die. To control the heaven and earth momentum, one had to be tested by the heaven and earth tribulation. If one passed it, one would be like a carp leaping through the dragon gate. If one failed, one would die. One had to pay the price of not having the ability to touch the heaven and earth momentum. The high priest of the Heaven's Vault tribe also arrived. Standing beside him was Commander Yu, the strongest soul extinguishing flame and destruction divine wind. An unparalleled talent will also face an unparalleled tribulation. I don't know if he can pass it. If he can, we really need this person. This is a deviation from my original estimation. The high priest of the Heaven's Vault tribe changed his opinion. Lin Xian sped up the teleportation. She even used her own energy to replace the Saint Spirit stones to activate the teleportation array and increase the speed of the teleportation. Originally, a teleportation would take 15 minutes, but she completed it in a moment. She knew that this was Night Sorrow's crisis. Night Sorrow sat cross-legged and activated his leakless true body to resist the invasion of the soul, extinguishing flame, and the destruction divine wind. One attacked the soul, and the other attacked the body. The tribulation of wind and fire was to obliterate the cultivator's body and soul. His defense was very stable. This was the most crucial step in the cultivation journey. Night Sorrow was very cautious. He didn't have any way to counterattack. He could only rely on defense until the destruction divine wind and the soul extinguishing flame dissipated. The cultivators who were meditating near Night Sorrow also left. Night Sorrow had the most destruction divine wind and the soul extinguishing flame, but there was also the destruction divine wind and the soul extinguishing flame that suddenly appeared around him. This was a warning from the heavenly Tao not to interfere with the tribulation. He could only resist it head-on. Night Sorrow's heart was as calm as still water. He activated his leakless true body to resist the suppression of the tribulation of wind and fire. In his extremely calm state of mind, Night Sorrow discovered that there were some wills in the destruction divine wind that he hadn't comprehended yet. He immediately immersed his mind and continued to comprehend them. The destruction will appear on Night Sorrow's body, and the power of the destruction will continue to rise. This is a madman. He's still trying to comprehend the destruction divine wind during his tribulation. Commander, you muttered. He has so many terrifying attributes. This is a monster. He will either rise up or fall. There is no other possibility, High Priest Heaven said. With a tyrannical soul power as a foundation and a calm state of mind, Night Sorrow's control over the destruction will rapidly improve. From the 5-star King Realm, he entered the 6-star King Realm. He didn't stop there either. He advanced all the way to the 7-star King Realm, reaching the high-level Destruction King Realm. The attribute, laws, and wills contained in the tribulations of the world were the most complete. Just like the lightning tribulation, it was a complete fusion of the lightning attribute laws and wills. The destruction divine wind contained the most complete laws and wills, which was what Night Sorrow needed the most. Speak. Chapter 1666. The laws and willpower of the tribulations were the most complete. Of course, no one would think of using these laws and willpower during the tribulations. This was because the tribulations were deadly. If one wasn't careful, they would be destroyed by the tribulations and be consigned to eternal damnation. Night Sorrow was very stable now. His leakless true body was consumed by the tribulations of wind and fire. If he ran out of energy first, he would be destroyed by the tribulations of wind and fire. If the energy of the tribulations of wind and fire was exhausted first, he would become an emperor. Therefore, if he could comprehend it now, he would naturally do so. Night Sorrow's body was surrounded by the destruction divine wind. However, there was also the rolling destruction willpower in the destruction divine wind. The destruction willpower wasn't driven by the destruction divine wind. It existed independently and belonged to Night Sorrow. A genius. No wonder Lin Piao thinks highly of him. However, our Heaven's Vault tribe wants this person. Whether he accepts our recruitment or not, we have to control him. Before Lin Piao reacts, we have to deal with him, Heaven's Vault High Priest said. Commander Yu and the two men who came later nodded. Night Sorrow's destruction willpower didn't stop after reaching the 7-star king realm. It continued to increase, but the speed was slower. After all, the remaining 30% of the destruction willpower wasn't that easy to capture. The soul-extinguishing flame burned, trying to drill into Night Sorrow's spirit sea and destroy his soul. The destruction divine wind rolled around Night Sorrow's body, trying to take away his life force. One was from the outside in, the other was from the inside out. They were two different extremes. Night Sorrow's leakless true body locked his body, not letting the soul-extinguishing flame enter his body and not letting his life force be taken away by the destruction divine wind. The soul-extinguishing flame burned more vigorously, and the destruction divine wind became more violent. However, Night Sorrow was still as gentle as Mount Tai. The intensity of the destruction divine wind made it easier for Night Sorrow to comprehend the destruction willpower. This guy is still enjoying it, Commander Yu muttered. At this moment, many people were watching. After all, the wind and fire tribulations of Emperor Realm weren't easy to see. Some heaven monarchs would break through in secret places or under the protection of their sects and elders. This way, they wouldn't be exposed in front of others. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow endured the tribulation of wind and fire. No one could feel how strenuous it was for Night Sorrow. That was the truth. Night Sorrow was using the Myriad Daos treasure tome to activate the virtuous immortal body. What he was using was the space-time energy. Night Sorrow knew what to do. If the energy in his body was not enough, he would use his Zhun Qi of Void. Even if he ran out of Zhun Qi of Void, he still had destruction energy and death energy. He would have no problem recovering unless the wind and fire calamity changed. Night Sorrow had taken 2 days to teleport to the Heaven's Vault tribe, but Lin Xiner had taken more than half a day to arrive. When Lin Xiner arrived at the Heaven's Vault tribe, she changed into a golden battle suit with a long sword hanging from her waist. This was the attire of the ethereal battle emperor, Lin Piao. She didn't want Night Sorrow to know that Lin Xiner was the misty battle empress and didn't want to ruin their friendship. Besides, Lin Xiner wouldn't be able to control the situation even if she came. Lin Piao even felt that a clone wouldn't be enough. Lin Piao is here. She's fast. Looks like things aren't going so smoothly. Heaven's High Priest looked in the direction that Lin Piao had come from. So fast? Ethereal Imperial City needs close to 2 days to teleport here. That brat has only broken through for less than a day, Commander Yu said in surprise. Looks like that brat has a clone in Ethereal Imperial City. Lin Piao immediately knew about his tribulation. Heaven's High Priest fell in a deep thought. At this moment, Lin Piao appeared. She appeared near Night Sorrow in the blink of an eye. Battle Empress, why are you in the mood to visit my Heaven's Vault tribe? Heaven's High Priest greeted. I'm not in the mood. It's just that the overlord of my ethereal dynasty is breaking through. I'm here to protect him. Could it be that Heaven's High Priest is here to comprehend something? Lin Piao asked. He's the overlord of the ethereal dynasty? From what I know, the overlord belongs to the ethereal dynasty. Lord Battle Empress, you don't have to be so nervous, right? Heaven's High Priest said with a smile. Does it matter if he's an overlord or not? What matters is that he's from the ethereal dynasty. That's enough. Lin Piao said. Ethereal Battle Empress, this is the Heaven's Vault tribe. It's better not to speak too loudly, Commander Yu said. Who are you to speak here? If I want to kill you, he can't stop me. Lin Piao snorted coldly. She was referring to his naturally high priest Piao. Commander Yu, don't be rude. Heaven's High Priest waved his hand at Commander Yu. He didn't say anything else, but his fingers trembled and light emitted from them. A moment later, Heaven's High Priest raised his head. Since he's someone that Ethereal Battle Empress thinks highly of, I'll give in this step. Lord Piao, You must remember the Heaven's Vault tribe's kindness. Let's go. After speaking, Heaven's High Priest left Heaven's Vault Cliff with Commander Yu. Lin Piao stabbed the sheathed longsword in her right hand into the ground. Her eyes behind the veil scanned the surroundings. Unrelated people retreat 30 miles. After hearing the conversation between Ethereal Battle Empress and Heaven's High Priest, the onlookers knew Ethereal Battle Empress's identity. No one questioned Ethereal Battle Empress's words. They all retreated 30 miles. Commander Yu, who had left Heaven's Vault Cliff, was puzzled. High Priest, we should kill that kid. This is equivalent to giving the Ethereal Dynasty a heaven-defying seedling. He's a virtuous person. Killing him will harm our own luck. Also, if we don't leave now, Lin Piao's true body will come. She'll attack you. What you said just now triggered her killing intent. Her true body will arrive in an hour, Heaven's High Priest said. He didn't speak just now because he was using the art of destiny to deduce. Commander Yu was stunned for a moment because he hadn't expected this. Lin Piao's direct combat ability is strong. It's hard for me to restrain her, so there's no need to go against her. Heaven's High Priest explained the reason why he let go. He didn't want to go against Lin Piao. After Lin Piao's true body arrived, she merged with her doppelganger and stood there watching Night Sorrow go through the wind-fire tribulation. Night Sorrow comprehended the will of destruction during the wind-fire tribulation. Lin Piao was very impressed. In the past, no one had done this. It could be said that no one had the spare energy to do so. But now, Night Sorrow's will of destruction was increasing to a visible degree. Lin Piao didn't let down her guard. Heaven's High Priest wasn't a simple person. It was hard to say if he would really retreat because his reputation wasn't very good. He didn't care about face when doing things. He only pursued the greatest benefits. Night Sorrow was now fully focused on resisting the wind-fire tribulation and comprehending the will of destruction. He didn't know what was happening outside. At this time passed very slowly. The people watching from afar were all paying attention to Night Sorrow's situation, because if the cultivation went smoothly, they might also reach the same level as Night Sorrow. It was better to have a situation to learn from. After the will of destruction reached completion, it didn't stop. But Night Sorrow's divine wind of destruction and soul-extinguishing flame had already started to weaken. Lin Piao even felt that if the wind-fire tribulation passed later, it would be more beneficial for Night Sorrow. If the will of destruction reached completion and entered the Emperor realm, that would be amazing. Speak. The second update has arrived. Thank you to a Chunxian trading company for your protection. Also, I haven't exploded recently. Let me explain. Recently, there's been no electricity at home. I've been going out to look for electricity. I use my notebook to write, and then use my phone to send books. It's already not easy to maintain a minimum of 4 updates. I persevered a lot. So, I don't need to gain sympathy, but I will work hard to do what I should do. When the electricity comes, I will explode. The one who wants to explode the most is not only the fans, but also myself. The effort and the reward are proportional. I also want to write more. Of course, I won't fill it up. Chapter 1667. The destructive wind weakened. Night Sorrow still felt that it wasn't enough. Next, the destructive intent vibrated, increasing the intensity of the destructive wind. Then, he continued to comprehend the destructive intent within. Crazy. At this moment, Yishan was acting very crazily. Other people would be eager to pass their tribulation as soon as possible. But what about Yishan? What he needed to do now was to stimulate the divine wind of destruction, increase its violence, and stimulate its will to manifest. Lin Piao felt that she had been daring all this time, but compared to Night Sorrow, she was still a little lacking. One had to know that the tribulation had many variables. Passing it first was the safest thing to do. After all, there were still many opportunities to comprehend the intent. Night Sorrow was taking a risk. Translator, Nioibo Studio Editor. Nioibo Studio. In fact, Night Sorrow was very confident. He still had 80% of the void chi in his body. He could deal with any unexpected situations. Many people understood what Night Sorrow was doing. They were all very impressed. At this time, Lin Piao looked up at the sky. There was a strong energy fluctuation. Just as Lin Piao was worried, there was a singing sound in the sky. Then, golden lotuses appeared and floated in the sky. Then, one by one, they fell towards Night Sorrow. Light of merit. It was the light of merit descending. After Night Sorrow entered the Emperor realm, he attracted the heavenly tribulation. Naturally, he was covered by the heavenly law. His merit from killing evil spirits in the evil Punisher land was naturally discovered by the heavenly law. Therefore, merit descended. Sound of nature, golden lotuses blooming in the sky. This is the scene right now. It was difficult to obtain merit in a small or high-level world because the living beings you benefited were limited. But in the celestial realm, there were countless living beings. Night Sorrow killed thousands of evil spirits this time. To the celestial realm, it was immeasurable merit. The golden lotus of merit was very domineering. It directly dispersed the soul-extinguishing flame and entered Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Night Sorrow's leakless true body couldn't block it. The golden lotus of merit directly entered his spirit sea. Night Sorrow's head was covered in the golden light of virtue, and his body was wrapped in the divine wind of destruction. Wind of destruction, strengthen. Night Sorrow felt that he now had some ability, so he opened his mouth and said, following the words of Night Sorrow in the mansion of Night Sorrow, the divine wind of destruction on his body had indeed strengthened a little. Words were law. Although Night Sorrow's merit cultivation had not reached the level of the merit heavenly lord, it had reached the critical point of the merit grand sage. After saying that, Night Sorrow continued to comprehend the will of destruction. Too monstrous. This was Lin Piao's evaluation of Night Sorrow. Not only was he able to increase the might of the tribulation, but he also dared to increase the might of the tribulation. This was definitely unprecedented. Night Sorrow was still comprehending, but when his will of destruction reached 90% and reached the level of an overlord, the destructive wind dissipated. Night Sorrow did not use the power of the deluxe merit grand sage anymore. Some things could only be done once. There was no benefit in going against the will of the heavens. The destructive wind dissipated, and auspicious clouds appeared in the sky, landing on Night Sorrow's body. The heavens rewarded him with energy. Night Sorrow used his leakless true body to wrap all the energy into his body so that it would not dissipate. Then, Night Sorrow stood up and looked at Lin Piao. Although he had been in the midst of the tribulation, Night Sorrow still knew some things. He knew that Lin Piao was guarding him. Congratulations! Lin Piao extended her right hand and grabbed the long sword. Thank you for protecting me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lin Piao. It's nothing. Lin Xianer informed me, so I naturally had to protect you. Moreover, you are the leader of the Misty Dynasty. I can't let any Tom, Dick, or Harry disturb your breakthrough. Lin Piao said. War, Emperor? Hearing Lin Piao's words, Night Sorrow had more or less guessed. Of course, he did not know about the conversation between Lin Piao and the High Priest. Yes, it's me. Are you all right now? Lin Piao nodded and asked. Very good. My space-time attribute has entered the Emperor realm. However, my other comprehensions are still lacking. Night Sorrow turned to look at the sky cliff. You want to comprehend the will? I will find a place for you. This is not a good place. The High Priest has been here before. Lin Piao could see that Night Sorrow did not want to leave. However, this was the territory of the Sky Cliff tribe. Lin Piao was not afraid. However, if Night Sorrow stayed here, it was hard to say what would happen. She could not stay here forever because the Zhaohua dynasty and the Celestial sect were not very obedient. Thank you, War Emperor. Let's go. Night Sorrow nodded. Then, Night Sorrow and Lin Piao left the Sky Cliff tribe and teleported back to the Misty Dynasty. At that moment, Yi Shan, who was inside Yua Manor, had returned to his normal state. However, the aura emanating from his body had changed. Yishan's figure appeared illusory. Looking at him, it did not feel like him at all. This was the overbearing power of the space-time domain, illusory yet real. Master, what happened to you? Ning Yun, who had been waiting by the side with the members of the god-slaying team, asked. You idiot. Your master has become an emperor. He is now a rank 9 Emperor Realm cultivator. Dachira said. She was very happy because this was a milestone in the transformation of a cultivator. Congratulations, Master. Ning Yun bowed to Night Sorrow. Congratulations, Uncle. With a big belly, Chiwa, who was sitting at the side, stood up and bowed to Night Sorrow. Chiwa, what are you doing? Come and sit over there. Night Sorrow quickly helped Chiwa up and asked her to sit down. Congratulations, Captain. Congratulations, Brother 13. The members of the god-slaying team roared and congratulated him. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I came to the celestial realm to pursue this step. I want to break the shackles of the 9-domain world and the primal chaos realm that prevent us from becoming an emperor. Breaking the shackles today is a historical moment for me. Night Sorrow. It is the completion of a transformation. However, it is also a step for the rise of our world. In the future, all of you can do it. I am very happy that all of you were by my side when I achieved success. Night Sorrow said some of the words in his heart. Night Sorrow, we have to celebrate. We have to send the news back. Dachira said. It is indeed something to be happy about. Send the news back and let everyone be happy. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Moon Villa was filled with a festive atmosphere. Large red lanterns were hung at the door. However, Night Sorrow was still cultivating and familiarizing himself with the effects of the space-time domain. The space-time domain allowed Night Sorrow's speed to increase. Within his domain, he could teleport to any location in an instant. In addition, the time and space within the space-time domain could be changed. For example, when a sword chi entered the space-time domain, Night Sorrow could decelerate time. At the same time, he could use a few spatial folds to resist the power of the sword chi. In other words, he could not be in the same space as the energy that attacked him. The effect was extremely strong. Without any domain to resist his domain, Night Sorrow was the ruler of the space-time domain. He was invincible. As there was no hurry, Night Sorrow's original body and Lin Piao returned to the ethereal imperial city in 2 days. Lord Night, you have reached the Emperor realm in less than 200 years. This is an unprecedented feat. It is the Misty Dynasty's fortune to be able to appear in the Misty Dynasty's territory. If Lord Night has any difficulties, you can find me at the City Lord's mansion anytime, Lin Piao said as they parted. Chapter 1668. Yishang thanks Your Excellency Battle Emperor for taking care of Star Moon Lake. I thank Your Excellency Battle Emperor for protecting us. If Your Excellency Battle Emperor needs my help, I will not refuse, said Yishang. Sometimes, things cannot be tied to benefits. I'll help you. Although you've become an emperor, you're still an initial emperor. You must continue to work hard. With your battle strength, you might have some say in the Imperial Emperor realm. Lin Piao said, I will continue to work hard. Night Sorrow nodded. I have high hopes for you. Lin Piao said and left. Night Sorrow left the teleportation array and flew towards the Night Moon Villa. He planned to rest for a while before continuing to find a place to cultivate. He wanted to perfect his nihility domain and destruction intent as soon as possible. Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa and merged with his clone. Lin Xian also returned to the Night Moon Villa. Congratulations on successfully passing the trials of wind and fire and becoming an emperor. Lin Xian was wearing a white dress, which was completely different from Lin Piao. Thank you, Sister Xian, for asking for help. If the Battle Emperor hadn't arrived in time, I would have been in trouble. Night Sorrow said with a smile. We're friends, so there's no need to be so courteous. Just now, the Battle Emperor came back and told me that everything went smoothly. Also, she'll arrange for us to go to the evil punishing grounds as soon as possible. This is a map from the Battle Emperor. Lin Xian handed a map to Yishan. After taking a look, Knight Sorrow realized that there were two key markings on it. One was the Nihility River, and the other was the Sea of Destruction. One was the place to comprehend the Nihility attribute, and the other was the place to comprehend the Destruction attribute. Knight Sorrow nodded and kept the map. This was the place he would go after resting for a while and stabilizing his cultivation. At this moment, Song Ning and Wu Feng also arrived at the Night Moon Villa. "You bastard! Why didn't you inform me of such a joyous occasion?" Song Ning patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder heavily when he saw Knight Sorrow. "That's right. Why didn't you inform Big Brother that you've entered the Imperial capital? We only found out when we saw the big red lantern outside your door," Wu Feng said. "Send out invitations to the 7 prefectures. Let them know that Knight Sorrow is also a great emperor cultivator. Let them know that they were blind to provoke you." Song Ning made the decision for Knight Sorrow. "All right, then I'll listen to you." Knight Sorrow nodded. The news spread out like a storm, sweeping through the entire ethereal imperial city. Gong Yufan received the invitation, but it felt hot in his hands. His heart was filled with worry. What if Knight Sorrow challenged the Emperor Realm cultivators of Moon Gazing Manor? Moon Gazing Manor had many heaven monarchs, but only one great Emperor Realm commander. If the only great Emperor cultivator was heavily injured or forced to leave, then Moon Gazing Manor's strength would be suppressed beyond recognition. Gong Yufan didn't doubt Yi Shang's strength. When Yi Shang was a heaven monarch, he was able to kill a gifted half-thearch. Once he entered the Arch Realm, he would be able to fight above his cultivation level. Gong Yufan doubted if he could handle Yi Shang, let alone the 1-star the Arch Realm commanders under him. After thinking about it, Gong Yufan decided to find a middleman to meet with Knight Sorrow to resolve the grudge. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to handle Knight Sorrow's suppression of Moon Gazing Manor. Gong Yufan wasn't the only one with a headache. Yang Tianlai was the same. He was also furious. His son couldn't bully someone, and his helper couldn't bully someone. Now that Knight Sorrow had entered the imperial capital, Sky Sun Prefecture was in danger. Luo Yuandao, who received the invitation, smiled. "Fayer, do you see this? This is Knight Sorrow. When he first made his move, he was a heaven monarch. He was not even a half-arch. However, in such a short time, he has already become a arch. He is indeed powerful. Fayer cannot compare to him. I can only work hard to be myself," Luo Fei said. "You're right. Do you want to die just because others are doing well? Do your best." Hearing your words, I'm very pleased. I'll prepare a generous gift. The celebration is the day after tomorrow. Let's go and have a look. Perhaps there will be some jokes to watch, Luo Yuandao said. Forward Si Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai met. The two of them wanted to discuss countermeasures. They were currently in the same boat. Palace Lord Yang, now that Song Ning, Luo Yuandao, and Lin Qixing are on good terms with Knight Sorrow, Baihan from Great River Province and Han Jinyu from Suppressing Mountain Province won't support us. Even if they do, it's useless. Gong Yufan said. The 7 manors of the Ethereal Empire were Song Ning Manor, Dark Shadow Manor, 7 Stars Manor, Sky Sun Manor, Moon Viewing Manor, Great River Manor, and Mountain Suppression Manor. The 2 strongest manor lords were Song Ning Manor and Luo Yuandao of Dark Shadow Manor. 2 of them were imperial emperors while the other 5 were emperors. Gong Yufan knew that apart from Song Ning and Luo Yuandao, who might be able to suppress Knight Sorrow, the other 5 had no chance of winning against Knight Sorrow. He knew how strong Knight Sorrow was in actual combat. Then what do you think, Palace Lord Gong? The Battle Emperor acknowledged Star Moon Lake's power and even issued a territorial lord's decree. That means he acknowledged Knight Sorrow's identity and status. It's useless for us to use our status in Ethereal Empire to suppress him. If he uses the rules set by the Battle Emperor to challenge us, our 2 prefectures will have no place to stand. Yang Tianlai felt humiliated, but he had no other choice. That's right. Our eyes weren't bright enough this time. We can only find someone to mediate. The Battle Emperor is no longer a possibility. If we go to the Battle Emperor, we'll be asking for trouble. Both of us are in the wrong. Song Ning can't wait to kill us and won't interfere. Luo Yuandao. Do you think we can turn things around if we go to Luo Yuandao? Gong Yufan asked. Right now, there are only two people we can find. One is one of the palace lords, Luo Yuandao, who is also a law enforcement elder. The other is Elder Lon of the City Lord Mansion. Elder Lon is powerful and prestigious, but if we go to him, we'll be scolded badly and he won't care. Yang Tianlai was a little annoyed because Knight Soro's sudden ascension to the imperial capital had disrupted their plans. Then let's go find Luo Yuandao first. He's now a law enforcement elder and has connections with Knight Soro. Knight Soro will give him face. The key is whether Luo Yuandao will give us face or not. Gong Yufan thought for a moment and said. After making the decision, Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai went to the Shadow Mansion and asked to see Luo Yuandao. Luo Yuandao naturally wouldn't refuse the two palace lords. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai went straight to the point and told Luo Yuandao why they were here. After thinking for a moment, Luo Yuandao asked, "This seat didn't want to get involved in this circle. However, we've worked together for many years. This seat can pass on the message for you. But if you want to resolve this matter, have you thought about your sincerity?" Luo Yuandao felt that there was nothing that couldn't be resolved from Knight Soro's point of view. What was needed was for Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan to come up with a reasonable attitude and a reasonable price. Furthermore, he felt that this was one of the things he could accomplish after becoming the enforcement elder. Chapter 1669. Then wait for the news. Luo Yuandao stood up and brought Luo Fei to Night Moon Manor with the gifts. After Yishang detected Luo Yuandao's arrival, he went to the manor's entrance to receive him. Manor head Luo and brother Luo have both arrived. Coincidentally, Manor head Song and the others are also drinking tea at the waterside pavilion. Let's go together. All right. Luo Yuandao nodded. This is a gift for Night Lord. Luo Fei took out a storage ring with a red ribbon wrapped around it and handed it to Knight Soro. Don't call me Night Lord, just call me Brother Yi. Next time, you have to learn from me. I only brought 2 jars of wine and 2 bags of tea to congratulate you. Knight Soro smiled and accepted the gift. Night Moon Manor's threshold is not high, so this gift is not expensive. Let's wait for the next time to congratulate Night Lord. Luo Yuandao said with a smile. He knew that Knight Soro was easy to get along with. Then, the 3 of them arrived at the waterside pavilion. Luo Yuandao greeted Song Ning and Wu Feng. At the same time, he looked at Lin Xianair with shock and disbelief because he could not see through Lin Xianair. Estate Lord Luo, this is my sister Lin Xianair. Song Ning introduced. Luo Yuandao greets Miss Lin. Luo Yuandao's posture was very humble. He knew that Lin Xianair was not simple. Lin Xianair nodded and continued drinking her tea. After sitting down, Luo Yuandao first congratulated Knight Soro for entering the Emperor realm. Then, they talked about the main topic. Night Lord, the situation is like this. Today, Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai came to the Shadow Estate to find me. They want to reconcile. Everyone knows that they are in the wrong. Originally, I did not want to get involved in this matter. However, I am now the law enforcement elder of the City Lord Estate. Therefore, I have to pass on this message. Luo Yuandao said, I understand. If it was before I became an emperor, I would not have reconciled. Now that I owe the Battle Emperor a favor, it is not good to capture her estate lords. I can reconcile, but it depends on their attitude and sincerity. Knight Soro sighed. Then I thank Overlord Yi for giving me. Luo Yuandao, face. I will bring these words back. Their attitude and the price they have to pay are their own business, Luo Yuandao said. All right, I have troubled you. Knight Soro nodded. Luo Yuandao did not mention anything else. Luo Yuandao did not give him a hard time. Don't say that. After becoming the law enforcement elder, I haven't done anything yet. Lord Yi is giving me face, so there's a possibility of success. I appreciate it. You, Knight Soro, are my friend. I have principles in my life. Lord Battle Emperor has helped me, so I won't betray the ethereal imperial dynasty. In addition, I don't make many friends, but I won't betray my friends either. Among the 7 prefecture lords, Only Lin Qixing is my friend. The other is you, Overlord Knight. Knight Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Luo Yuandao. Since Luo Yuandao said so, he had to accept it. Then, Luo Yuandao and Luo Fei left the Night Moon Estate. Knight Sorrow, you are amazing. Even Luo Yuandao does not approve of me, but you became his friend. Songming curled his lips. If he approves, then I have to accept it. No matter what, I have to help him. Regardless of Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlia's attitude, this hatred must be resolved. Knight Sorrow said. He did not mean to scheme against you this time, but he did hit Knight Sorrow's weak spot. However, he did not lie. Among the 7 estate lords, only Lin Qixing has a good relationship with him, Song Ning said. Song Ning said. She also understood that Luo Yuandao's unintentional actions and words were not only effective on Yishang, but also on Lin Xian'er's side. Of course, Luo Yuandao was telling the truth. Sometimes, things are not so difficult. He treats me as a friend, so I have to help him. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. After returning to the Shadow Estate, Luo Yuandao went to the pavilion where Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan were. What was the matter with the enforcement elder? Gong Yufan stood up and asked anxiously. If Knight Sorrow were to fight, the first to bear the brunt of it would be his Serene Moon Estate. I pulled out my old face to plead on your behalf, and Yishang agreed to negotiate. However, I'll say this first. If you don't have a proper attitude and unreasonable compensation, causing Yishang to fall out with you, I'll also lose face. Then, I won't let you off so easily. You'll have to think about how to deal with this matter. Also, remember that Knight Sorrow is my friend, Luo Yuandao said. Said Luo Yuandao. He didn't want Yishang to suffer because Yishang had given him face and recognized him as a friend. Elder Luo, don't worry. We will take care of it. Gong Yufan nodded. Then, Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai left the Shadow Estate. Father, what are you thinking about? In the Shadow Estate, Luo Fei poured a cup of tea for Luo Yuandao and asked, It's nothing. I have something to tell you today. Star Moon Lake is a new force, so it's inevitable that there will be some setbacks in its development. Our Shadow Manor wants to support it. You two are of the same generation, but he is my friend. You must remember this. I don't make friends easily, but once I do, I cannot betray them, Luo Yuan explained. Fei understands. Luo Fei smiled and nodded. He also approved of Knight Sorrow. He had to admit that his attitude was very good. He had really let go of the past. Actually, they don't need it. However, it is within our capabilities. Luo Yuandao sighed. 9W plus Star Moon Lake is a new force. It is good that they have no more opponents. Of course, Knight Sorrow is not afraid. Luo Fei said. Of course not. Song Ning and Wu Feng are on very good terms with him. Also, the woman called Lin Xian'er today is also an incredible expert. I can't tell how strong she is, but at the very least, she is a monarch. He has 3 imperial emperors by his side and is an imperial emperor himself. Who do you think he needs to be afraid of? He really gave me face today. Luo Yuandao smiled. He knew that Knight Sorrow's development in the ethereal empire was unshakable. You really can't be blind. Yuan Ji was blind and ended up falling from power. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai listened to their father and will have to think twice. They're probably scared to death right now. We can't afford to lose too much, Luo Fei said. Those 2 bastards. If they don't talk nicely this time, our Shadow Estate will suppress them before Knight Sorrow can deal with them. We have given them face, but they don't want it. We will embarrass them. Luo Yuandao said. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai arrived at Guanyuer Estate and entered Gong Yufan's study. Consider compensation. Luo Yuandao spoke up for us, but now he's on Yishang's side. If we can't satisfy Yishang this time, then we really won't be able to survive, said Yang Tianlai. We have to bring our troublemaker children to apologize. This is a must. Their attack on Yishang's residence was the cause of this matter. Secondly, we have to compensate them with resources. However, this is a problem. Gong Yufan sighed. Chapter 1670. Night Sorrow's family and friends had all arrived at the Night Moon Manor. Fortunately, the Night Moon Manor was thousands of miles wide, so it wasn't crowded. The Domain Lord and City Lord of the Nine-Domain World had all arrived. Zhu Jiyun, Long Xiansheng, Xiaolan Jun, Heavenly Underworld Sage, and the other old sages of the Nine-Domain World had all arrived at the Night Moon Manor. In the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow's senior brothers had all arrived. Of course, Guan Yu was originally at the Night Moon Manor. Night Sorrow didn't want to celebrate, but this matter was too important to the Primal Chaos world and the Nine-Domain world. It was also a joyous occasion. Yin Tianpa and Lin Ruoxu had also arrived. Both Tai Shu Yin and some people from the Heaven Profound world had also arrived. Night Sorrow received them one by one. He didn't act high and mighty just because he was the emperor. Yin Tianpa, Lin Ruoxu, and Yi Qianhua came together with a young man beside them. The young man was wearing a blue battle robe. When he saw Night Sorrow, he seemed a little reserved. Domain Lord, let me introduce you. This is Shi Zhongzhou. He has already awakened some of his memories. I believe Domain Lord can recall something. Lin Ruoxu introduced. Night Sorrow greets the Middle Continent Saint King. Night Sorrow cupped his fists towards the young man. Domain Lord, you can't do this. The reserved young man panicked. There's nothing wrong with that. The Saint King of the Central Continent is a sage of the Nine-Domain world. This has nothing to do with your current cultivation, said Yishang. He naturally understood some things after hearing Lin Ruoxu's explanation. Domain Lord, don't say that. Although the three of us have worked hard, we didn't change anything. Domain Lord, you have completed the Nine-Domain world and created a new world for the Nine-Domain world. There is no comparison between the two. Shi Zhongzhou said. It took a few generations for the Nine-Domain world to rise. Although the first few generations didn't change the situation, they left behind a strength of character for the future generations. No one can deny that strength of character is the pillar that supported the rise of the Nine-Domain world. I'm happy. No one has any regrets now. Night Sorrow said. After receiving the guests, Night Sorrow went to find Imo Chun and Chu Lingfei. 11th Senior Brother, I'm here. Night Sorrow arrived at Imo Chen's resting area. Haha. 13. Shouldn't you be busy right now? Imo Chen laughed heartily. He was surprised by Night Sorrow's arrival. He knew that Night Moon Villa was full of guests that needed to be received. No matter how busy I am, it's not as important as drinking with 11th Senior Brother. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and placed it on the table. I like those words. It's still the same little 13. Imo Chen opened the wine jar. I remember when I was still young, 11th Senior Brother would accompany me when I went out to train. When I was lonely and helpless, I would turn around and look at 11th Senior Brother. That gave me the courage to face everything. Night Sorrow poured a glass of wine for Imo Chen. In the blink of an eye, quite a few years have passed. Seeing 13 grow up as your senior brother, I am gratified and proud. Imo Chen sighed. At that time, I didn't have much contact with the other senior brothers. I felt that 11th Senior Brother was the most amiable and the easiest to get along with, Night Sorrow said. Eldest Senior Brother was a little strict. 12 and I were beaten up by the Rot-Tan fried meat. In our Medicine Valley, Taishan Peak, 13, you're the only one who didn't eat Rot-Tan, Imo Chen said with a smile. His eyes were a little wet. Although many years had passed, the relationship between them hadn't changed at all. I've been too busy these years. I didn't even spend time with my family and neglected my senior brothers. I feel sorry for 6th Senior Sister and 9th Senior Sister. Night Sorrow felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. 13, what are you talking about? No one is blaming you. Everyone understands you. Yang Lei, Aoi, and Night Sorrow's other senior brothers of Taishan Peak arrived. 9th Senior Sister, you're all here. Eldest Senior Brother, please take a seat. Night Sorrow stood up. 13, you're too demanding of yourself. You're worthy of everyone in the world. Your senior brothers can't wait to feel sorry for you. Why would they mind? Gong Xian stepped forward and hugged Night Sorrow, patting Night Sorrow's back. 13, you're in the wrong. Why don't you come and drink with 11 instead of us? Shi Tianlin said with some dissatisfaction. 8th Senior Brother, don't be angry. I thought it was too late, so I didn't want to disturb you. As for 11 senior brother, I know he won't mind, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. No one will mind. It's rare for us to get together these years. 6 senior brother, 9th senior brother, let's drink crazily together tonight. Okay? Gongxian looked at Aoi and Yanglei. No problem. Aoi wiped the corners of her eyes. She hadn't seen such a scene in a long time. Senior brothers, I can't. Our god-slaying squad doesn't go out on missions. We have to cultivate in the camp at night. That's the rule, Guan Yi said softly. 13 is the captain, right? Let him know, Gongxian said. Long Jin is currently in charge of the god-slaying squad. I'll go say hi, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I'll go. Yanglei pulled Knight Sorrow and went to the god-slaying squad's camp. 12, you're very obedient now, Shi Tianlin said as he put his arm around Guan Yi's shoulder. He's working hard. Look at us now. Other than Knight Sorrow, 6 senior brother, and 9th senior brother, 12 has the highest achievements, Gongxian said. At this moment, Guan Yi had already reached the 8th level. He was just a little behind Qingjun. It's mainly because the god-slaying squad is treated well. Tang Tian, Chu Ning, and Ma Shizhuang are all Saint Kings. If I don't try my best, I'll be laughed at, Guan Yi said with a smile. Sai, it's not easy for you to be an uncle master, Shi Tianlin said with some emotion. Those who join the god-slaying squad are all promising. Those who were in the same batch as them are a little weaker. The highest among them is only a high-level saint, Huan Nan said. This can't be forced. The god-slaying squad's training and experience are very intense. It's very difficult for the latecomers to catch up, Guan Yi said. He was explaining on behalf of Knight Sorrow, so that others wouldn't misunderstand. Yanglei returned with Chu Ning, Tang Tian, Ma Shizhuang, and Qingjun. The 4 of them first greeted Knight Sorrow, the captain, before greeting their master and uncle master. You don't have freedom now, do you? Back then, you cried and begged to join the god-slaying squad, Yanglei said with a smile. 9th Martial Ant, joining the god-slaying squad was the best decision of my life. We're famous in the 9 regions world. Everyone in the Chaos Realm knows that the god-slaying squad is under the Domain Master. In the future, the god-slaying squad will also have a place in the Celestial Realm. I'm proud to be a member of the god-slaying squad, Chu Ning said. You've become promising, kid. Huan Nan nodded with a smile. Brother 13, thank you for bringing me all the way here. Qingjun bowed to Knight Sorrow. You're the first friend I've ever made in my life. There's no need for thanks between us brothers. Knight Sorrow reached out and pulled Qingjun up, allowing Qingjun to sit down. While drinking, Knight Sorrow asked about the current situation in the Medicine Valley. Z, Original and First 7. Chapter 1671. I really haven't done anything for the Medicine Valley. Eldest senior brother's words really make me blush with shame, Knight Sorrow said with a sigh. You've done enough. Didn't you bring up these 4 fellows? The main thing is that your reputation can support the development of the Medicine Valley, Gongxian said. I'm indeed busy. I am not only a disciple of the Medicine Valley, but also a representative of the 9 domains world and the 9 domains of chaos. If the Medicine Valley needs anything, just look for my 9th senior sister, Knight Sorrow said to Yanglei. They drank until the middle of the night. They drank until Shi Tianlin fell under the chair and started snoring. Only then did the banquet end. Knight Sorrow was also helped back to rest by Yanglei and Aoi. Everyone's cultivation was very high. Not to mention wine. Even if they used energy to protect themselves, it would be useless. However, everyone drank instinctively. Naturally, it depended on one's alcohol tolerance. Shi Tianlin was not convinced and wanted to drink with Knight Sorrow, but he ended up lying under the table. After sleeping for a whole night, Knight Sorrow felt refreshed. After leaving the main pavilion, Knight Sorrow stretched and then rushed towards the teleportation array. At this time, Wu Lingfei in a white dress walked out of the teleportation array. Ani Fei, weren't you cultivating in the clear sky pagoda? Knight Sorrow asked. You rascal, such a big thing, and you didn't inform Ani Fei. If Ani Fei hadn't come out of seclusion and asked the servants where everyone was, wouldn't we have missed this celebration? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow with dissatisfaction. This is my fault, Auntie Fei. Night Sorrow smiled and welcomed Wu Lingfei to the main pavilion. He then made a pot of tea. That silly boy from back then is now an emperor. Auntie Fei is very happy. Wu Lingfei's beautiful eyes fell on Night Sorrow. The scene of Night Sorrow going to East Snow Mountain was like yesterday. Aunt Fei, I will deal with the problem of the evil dragon's poison flame later. Night Sorrow said, there's no need to rush. Aunt Fei can handle it. Moreover, staying in the Haotian God Pagoda allows time to slow down by 50 times. Only half a year has passed. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. She knew that Night Sorrow was anxious, but she didn't take it seriously. Auntie Fei was the only family I had before I found my family. Of course, she's also the only family I care about now. So, if Auntie Fei's life isn't good, I can't accept it. Night Sorrow said, you're already an emperor, yet you're still acting like a child. Today is the day of the celebration. Aunt Fei saw that the heaven-worshipping ceremony was already set up. Luckily, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss your good day. Wu Lingfei pointed in the direction of a night moon villa's garden. Today, the garden was where the celebration would be held. It's nothing. It's just a breakthrough. Night Sorrow didn't really care about these things. There are many guests today. I need you to attend to them. Aunt Fei will go find Shu Yu and Yang Lei. Wu Lingfei smiled and left. Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow will definitely let you live happily. After this, I won't let you suffer any pain. Yishan muttered in a low voice. He then went to receive the guests. The guests that came today were all important figures. He had even invited the people of the Misty 7 Prefecture Lords. 01 Premier, Luo Yuandao, arrived early. After Night Sorrow received him, the two of them chatted casually. After Wufeng and Songning arrived, they sat together and drank tea. Luo Yuandao expressed his congratulations and welcome to Wufeng for joining Ethereal City's Lord Residence. He hoped that they could work together happily in the future. Although Wufeng wasn't interested in these things, he knew that Luo Yuandao and Night Sorrow had a good relationship. So, he chatted with Luo Yuandao. Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai arrived. However, Night Sorrow didn't receive them. Instead, it was Ji Dao who received them. Gong Yufan brought Gong Xianyu while Yang Tianlai brought Yang Yu. Bastard, why aren't you apologizing to Lord Knight? Yang Tianlai brought Yang Yu to the waterside pavilion. He kicked Yang Yu's knees and forced him to kneel on the ground. Yang Yu didn't know any better and offended Lord Knight. Please punish me. Yang Yu's eyes were filled with fear. He knew that if Night Sorrow wanted to deal with him, he wouldn't have a good life. Even his father wouldn't be able to protect him. Gong Xian Yu was also pushed by Gong Yufan to kneel in front of Night Sorrow. He also begged for mercy. Both of you get up. At the end of the day, it's a problem with your family's education. Yishang waved his hand and helped the two of them up before tossing them to the side. He still needed Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlai to explain the situation. Lord Knight, Gong Yufan didn't educate my daughter well and allowed her to offend you. Therefore, Moon-Gazing Manor will send 8 million Saint Spirit Stones and a street in Linhai as a congratulatory gift. It's also an apology. Gong Yufan took out a storage ring. Lord Knight, Yang Yu didn't know any better. I will punish him when I return. Please don't take it to heart. This is a token of appreciation from Sky Sun Manor. Yang Tianlai also handed over a storage ring. Night Sorrow nodded at Ji Dao. Ji Dao accepted Gong Yufan and Yang Tianlia's gifts. Originally, I didn't want to let go of this matter. However, since Palace Lord Luo has spoken, we will settle this matter. The compensation isn't important. What's important is that Moon-Gazing Manor and Sky Sun Manor don't touch the people and properties of Star Moon Lake. Night Sorrow stated his request. That's not a problem. I will arrange it when I return. Moon-Gazing Manor and Star Moon Lake will be friends in the future. There won't be any conflicts. Gong Yufan stated. Yang Tianlai was the same. Now that this matter was settled, it could be considered as resolving a sore point. However, he was still in pain. As the palace lord of ethereal empire, it was humiliating for him to beg for mercy. Since that's the case, let's forget about the past. Jidao arranged for the two palace lords to go to the VIP seats. Night Sorrow said to Jidao. Jidao brought Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan to the VIP seats in the garden. Night Sorrow, I thank you here. Luo Yuan Dao cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't mention any conditions. He didn't even mention anything about the compensation. This was giving him face. Palace Lord Luo treats me, Night Sorrow, as a friend. Naturally, this matter isn't a big deal. Night Sorrow said, these two guys don't have any strength of character. They won't amount to much. Lin Xian's expression wasn't too good. In fact, Lin Xian was very angry. This was the palace lord of ethereal city that she didn't want to see. Sister Xian, don't let this affect your mood. Song Ming said. Lin Xian nodded. However, she had made a decision in her heart. She wanted to investigate Gong Yufan. She saw pain on Yang Tianlia's face just now. That was shame. However, Gong Yufan's expression was relaxed. Therefore, she felt a little disgusted. At this moment, an old man came to the door. Night Sorrow, that's Elder Lan from the City Lord's palace. You have to go and receive him. Song Ming reminded Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also sensed the person who came. However, he was a little surprised because he recognized him. It was Elder Nalan from the Divine Devil Castle. After hearing Song Ning's words, Night Sorrow understood that Elder Nalan also had two identities. Chapter 1672. However, this didn't matter. Night Sorrow knew that there wouldn't be any conflicts. He was from the God Devil Castle, and so was Elder Nalan. Neither of them would leak any secrets. If they met outside the God Devil Castle, they would use their identities to interact. Of course, it was easier to form a friendship. Elder Nalan had a high position in the ethereal city lord residence. If he could take care of Night Sorrow, he would do the same. Night Sorrow arrived at the entrance of the manor and cupped his hands towards Elder Nalan. Night Sorrow greets Elder Nalan. Young and promising, truly young and promising. Elder Nalan continued to praise Yishang. He knew Yishang's age. For an emperor to be less than 200 years old, this cultivation speed was definitely legendary. In addition, Yishang not only had a high cultivation level, but his actual combat strength was also very strong. Night Sorrow invited Elder Nalan to the VIP seats. At this time, the celebration officially began. There were two people hosting the celebration. One was Nine Domain World's Long Xiansheng, and the other was Reincarnation World's Qing Emperor. Night Sorrow was from Nine Domain World, and Long Xiansheng gave a speech. Night Sorrow was the representative of Reincarnation World, and Qing Emperor gave a speech. After the speech, it was time for the invited guests to present their gifts. The one receiving the gifts was Hong Yi. Ethereal Imperial City's 7 prefecture lords, starting from Tsangning and Luo Yuandao. Tsanglan Prefecture's Jiang Tianheng and Jinhua Prefecture's Han Jinhua all sent gifts. Moon-gazing Prefecture's Gong Yufan and Sky Sun Prefecture's Yang Tianlai sent gifts for the second time. Last time, they gave compensation. Of course, it could also be considered as gifts. However, if they didn't take out a gift today, it would be a slap to Night Sorrow's face. Next, Lin Qixing walked out. I'm a miser and won't pluck my feathers easily. But today I must give you a piece of water chestnut dragon skin. I hope Lord Night doesn't mind. Many thanks, Prefecture Lord Qixing. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands. And that's good. This seat will wait for the wine. Lin Qixing smiled and sat down. Night Sorrow, it's not easy to make Lin Qixing pluck your hair. Song Ming smiled and nodded at Night Sorrow. I am here on the orders of the Battle Emperor. 10 Emperor-ranked soul stones and 1 monarch pill. Elder Nalan stood up and said. Awkward silence. There was a bit of an awkward silence because the Battle Emperor had never given anyone a congratulatory gift. Even the 7 prefecture lords who had entered the Emperor realm didn't receive such treatment. This was enough to show how much the ethereal Battle Emperor valued Night Sorrow. Lord Yi, I brought the Battle Emperor's a congratulatory gift. It's mine. I'm poor. I only have a piece of time meteorite iron that I obtained in my early years. Elder Nalen took out another congratulatory gift. Song Ming and Luo Yuandao were sitting close to each other. They looked at each other. It was already surprising that the ethereal battle emperor had sent a congratulatory gift. Now, the city lord residence's Elder Lon, who didn't interact much with others, had also sent a congratulatory gift. This was simply unheard of. I don't dare to refuse an elder's gift. Yishang thanks Elder. Yishang nodded at Elder Nalen. I hope it will be of help to you. Elder Nalen nodded and sat down. Knight Sorrow then walked to the front desk and thanked the people who had come to congratulate him. He also explained the development concept of the Star Moon Lake. In short, Knight Sorrow is new here. I hope everyone can forgive me and help me. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands to the people who had come. Then, it was time for the banquet. Knight Sorrow received the guests with good wine and tea. Thank you, Sister Xian for helping me. Knight Sorrow toasted everyone and went to Lin Xian. It's nothing. Lin Xian smiled and drank the wine in her hand. Song Ming turned his head and pursed his lips. Nothing? She was very clear that the city lord residence's Elder Lon had come on Lin Xian's orders. That was the truth. Elder Lon had sent her here to send a signal. Yishan was supported by the ethereal battle emperor, so everyone should keep their eyes open. As for Elder Lon personally sending a congratulatory gift to support Yishan, Lin Xian had not expected this. Elder Lon did not have much contact with outsiders. He was the protector elder of the city lord residence. He would only appear when the city lord residence was in danger. Normally, he did not care about anything. If he wanted to fight, Yuan Ji would not have been able to become the great elder, and Luo Yuandao would not have taken the position this time. Lin Xian did not understand why such a person would send a congratulatory gift. Elder Lon usually wanted to distance himself from all relationships and live his own life. After pondering for a while, Lin Xian smiled because she had figured out the relationship between the two. Some things were best left to ponder. Lin Xian understood what was going on after pondering for a while. There was nothing in the Misty Dynasty that could be hidden from her. After the celebration, Knight Sorrow sent the guests away and accompanied his fellow disciples and friends. Song Ning and Wu Feng also stayed in Knight Sorrow's residence because it was very lively now. Seeing Wu Lingfei, Lin Xian was once again shocked. The Ice Phoenix bloodline, this was also a pure divine beast. Just in time for Knight Sorrow to arrive, Knight Sorrow introduced the two sides. Young Lady Wu, your condition seems not too good. Your breath is not very stable. Lin Xian looked at Wu Lingfei and said, This is my fault. I was not careful enough. Knight Sorrow explained that Wu Lingfei had been poisoned by the evil dragon's poison flame. Knight Sorrow, this is not your fault. Everyone has some predestined fate. Wu Lingfei said, If you want to resolve this, there are two ways. The blood of an Emperor rank White Tiger or the blood of an Emperor rank Orthodox dragons. Lin Xian said, I plan to take a trip to the White Tiger territory. I am an Emperor rank. That White Tiger Emperor will definitely come to kill me. As long as I can injure it and collect some blood, that will be enough. Knight Sorrow spoke his thoughts. No, the White Tiger Emperor is not an emperor. You cannot touch it right now. Lin Xian directly interrupted Knight Sorrow. Is the White Tiger Emperor very strong? Knight Sorrow said, The concept of the White Tiger Emperor is very general. The four divine beasts all have their own territories. The Azure Dragons are currently the representatives of the dragons, but they are only representatives. The Black Tortoise clan is very tyrannical, and so is the Vermilion Bird clan. Everyone knows that the Azure Dragon territory, Black Tortoise territory, and Vermilion Bird territory have many Emperor Realm cultivators, but the White Tiger territory only has one White Tiger Emperor. In reality, it is not. Lin Xian said, Please dispel my confusion, Sister Xian. Knight Sorrow asked, The White Tiger territory has a world within a world. Generally, there is only one Emperor Realm White Tiger that patrols the ordinary White Tiger territory. When the time comes, it will rotate. No one knows what level of Emperor Realm White Tiger is assigned to patrol. If you rashly enter, if it is an emperor rank white tiger, then would you not be out of luck? It is not like there are no emperor rank white tigers. Lin Xianer said, "It's this complicated?" Knight Sorrow's brow tightly wrinkled. To him, this was not good news at all. Yes, however, you could try to purchase white tiger essence blood and dragon's essence blood. The price is a bit higher. Perhaps there are members of the two clans that have transformed into humans and are roaming the celestial realm. If the price is high enough, it is not a big deal for them to bleed a bit. It depends on whether or not you can encounter them. This depends on luck. It depends on whether or not you pay the price they want. Lin Xianer said. Chapter 1673. Night Sorrow hadn't seen the dragon language for a while, but she knew that the dragon language had also come to the celestial realm. Like Night Sorrow, she chose to come out. Who's the dragon language? Lin Xianer asked. Night Sorrow told her about his conflict with the devil blood domain and the dragon language. Night Sorrow, let me tell you this. It's not easy to become an emperor. Don't use yourself to measure others. How big is the ethereal realm? There are trillions of living beings, but how many can become an emperor? Your primal chaos realm only has you. Lin Xianer said, relying on others is never as good as relying on oneself. Tomorrow, we'll send out a notice asking for purchase. As for whether we can attract dragons and white tigers, that will depend on luck. Night Sorrow agreed with Lin Xian. Yishang, you don't need to worry. It's not a big deal. Although the evil dragon Poison Flame is quite overbearing, it's not like Aunt Fei can't suppress it. Aunt Fei's bloodline can actually suppress it. It's just that her level is a bit low. Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow nodded. Wu Lingfei's bloodline and talent were very heaven-defying. It was only a matter of time before she achieved something. Night Sorrow had properties in his hands waiting to be taken over. There were 2 streets. Gong Yufan gave him Lin Hai Street, which was one of the more prosperous streets in the ethereal imperial city. There were properties on both sides of the street. Yang Tianlai was the same. In order not to cause trouble for Night Sorrow and let their grudges go smoothly, he gave him a street that was closer to Lin Hai Street. Night Sorrow originally planned to give one to the 9 Domains world and the other to the reincarnation world. He wanted everyone to develop on their own. However, he was rejected by Qing Emperor and the others. Long Xiansheng and Taishu Yin also had the same idea. After a discussion, they decided to rent Night Sorrow's properties. After all, this was a huge foundation and belonged to Night Sorrow alone. It had nothing to do with the Primal Chaos realm. Translator, Nioibo Studio Editor. Nioibo Studio for the convenience of development. Night Sorrow left it to Red Spectre, who had better management skills, to manage. Not only did they not charge rent for the time being, but they could also provide Holy Spirit stones if needed. However, Night Sorrow told Redcoat that the last good spot was for his own use, because it was reserved for Chun Shun. After that, Night Sorrow found Chun Shun, who had not returned to 9 Region City and was still in Star Moon Villa. You're busy, don't worry about me. I've already told you last time. When you're not busy, we'll chat and drink tea again. Chun Shun, who was enjoying the scenery with his 2 sons, Yi Qianhua, Chen Zhukong, and his wife, asked them to leave. He knew that Night Sorrow was busy. Sworn brother, are you sure you want to drive me away? Originally, I had a good shop that I wanted to make into a tea house, but I can only forget about it, Night Sorrow said. Don't. Where's the store? Take me to see it. Opening a tea house in the celestial realm is the way to do business. Chen quickly stopped Night Sorrow. I don't know exactly where it is, but we can go and take a look, Night Sorrow said with a smile. After that, Night Sorrow took Chun Chen's family and Redcoat to Lin Hai Street. Redcoat was in charge of Lin Hai Street, so she knew everything. It was a property in the center of Lin Hai Street, and there was a villa behind it. Young master, this is the best shop on Lin Hai Street. The location is the best, and the style is also the best. After the people of Guanyua Mansion withdrew, Redcoat didn't let anyone touch it, Redcoat said. Sworn brother, this place is yours from now on, Night Sorrow said. What? If you give this property to me, does this belong to you? Qinshan looked at Yishang with some surprise. It's mine. You can do business in the future. If you want to be the biggest boss in the Chaos Realm, I'll naturally support you, Knight's Sorrow said. The value of this property is estimated to be very high, and the location is so good. Qinshan was a little emotional. This is the best property on Lin High Street. It's estimated to be around 5 million Holy Spirit stones. Redcoat explained the situation. 5 million, my goodness. I'll take it for a few 100,000. 5 million is not enough even with all my assets. I can't take it. Knight's Sorrow, lend it to me first and then rent it to me. Qinshan thought for a moment and said, do we need to do this between us brothers? Knight's Sorrow said with a bitter smile, we don't need to do this between brothers, but I'm still a businessman. It's settled then. This is a good shop. Zhu Kong, don't go to the Nine Zones world for now. Help father support this place. Qinshan walked directly into the shop. I really don't understand the world of businessmen. Knight's Sorrow looked at Redcoat and said helplessly, this is the principle. Redcoat said with a smile. After looking around, Qinshan was extremely excited because he liked this place. Knight's Sorrow, if you're tired in the future, this is where you can drink tea and rest. Redcoat, you'll take care of this business, right? I'll talk to you. Qinshan said, I really don't understand you guys. I don't care, but I need good tea to receive guests. I can't do without good tea. Knight's Sorrow looked at Qinshan and said, I know you need it. Your brother is not only a tea shop owner, but also a restaurant business. Before coming here, I've prepared everything for you, but I didn't give it to you. Qinshan took out 2 storage rings and handed them to Knight's Sorrow. You're a businessman. Are these gifts or for sale? Knight's Sorrow asked with a smile. Others would definitely be for sale, but you're my only brother in this life. Do you think it's for sale? Qinshan glared at Knight's Sorrow. You said that I'm your only brother. Then why didn't you take it when I gave it to you? Knight's Sorrow muttered. This is different. I accept your help, but there's no need to give it to me. You have the strength of character of the people of the 9 Zones. As your brother, of course, I have to have that too. Qinshan expressed his insistence. All right, then I won't say anything more on this matter. Redcoat, in the future, I'll arrange for the God-Slaying Squad to patrol this area. If the God-Slaying Squad wants to stop for tea, they can stop here. The account will be settled by Night Moon Villa, Knight's Sorrow said to Redcoat. Red nodded. She would do what Yishang asked her to do. Redcoat, if you want to start a business, you can choose any place here. If you want to get married, I'll arrange a dowry for you. The Yi family's extravagance won't be bad either. The same goes for Lanning. Knight's Sorrow looked at Redcoat and Lanning beside him and said, he treated them as members of the Yi family. Thank you, young master. Redcoat and Lanning bowed. Lanning, you're not as meticulous as Redcoat. Just help her, Knight's Sorrow said to Lanning. Young master, Old Xia, and the other 2 wanted to leave today, but I stopped them. Lanning told them that even if they wanted to leave, they had to wait until you were done with your work, Lanning said. The Old Xia and the other 2 she was talking about were Summer City, Xiandaozi, and Shangwanhong. You did the right thing. I'm so busy that I didn't receive you well. Brother, I won't care about your business. If you need anything, just come to me. Knight's Sorrow said to Qinshan and left Lin High Street. Father, this uncle of mine is so powerful. He's made a name for himself in the celestial realm. If I go out and shout that Knight's Sorrow is my uncle, who would dare to touch me? Chen Zhukong said excitedly. Smack! Qinshan slapped the back of Chen Zhukong's head. Chapter 1674. Bastard, have your uncle's children ever said that they are part of the Yi family? But did they say that Knight's Sorrow was their father? But using his father's name to do things? Do you want to use my name to show off? Qinshan was furious. Otherwise, he would not have hit him directly. Father, I was just joking. Why would I do that? Chen Zhukong said, feeling wronged. Kong, there are some jokes that shouldn't be made. This has crossed my bottom line, Yi Qianhua said. Father, big brother, I know I was wrong. I won't speak carelessly in the future. Chen Zhukong admitted his mistake in a low voice. Remember, principles and strength of character are things that the Chun family must keep at the bottom of our hearts. Chen reminded Chen Jukong. Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa and went to the residence of the trio in Summer City. I heard that the three uncles are leaving. That won't do. Night Sorrow hasn't had a good drink with the three uncles yet. Your Highness, you're so busy right now. You don't have to take care of us, Summer City said. Uncle Xia, please don't be angry. What I did was really inappropriate, Night Sorrow said with some embarrassment. He had just started to receive the guests, but he was so busy that he forgot about it. Our song issued. Your Highness, if you say so, then I will not leave. Summer City's voice was not calm. What was Night Sorrow's status now? The domain master of the primal chaos realm, a rank 9 emperor, still called them uncle and apologized. This proves that Uncle Xia and the others are not angry. Tonight, I will accompany the three uncles to drink. Ji Dao, go and call the members of the deicide squad over. Night Sorrow shouted to Ji Dao. A short while later, the main members of the God-slaying squad arrived. In the future, everyone will stay here and cultivate. Those who need to stabilize their cultivation bases, head to the 9 regions world's clear sky pagoda. Also, there are 2 streets that belong to us and need to be patrolled. The God-slaying team will be responsible for Lin High Street, Night Sorrow said. Captain, our current cultivation levels are a little lacking, Liang Yu said. He was now a 6-star king and was already advancing towards becoming a 7-star king. It's a little lacking, but you guys have the combined attack array. As long as you can trap the opponent for a period of time, it will be fine. Also, I will send a Heaven Monarch to stand guard over there, Night Sorrow said to Liang Yu. That's good. Long Jin and Liang Yu nodded. Old man, we have something to do as well. Let's help His Highness patrol. Xian Daozi looked at Summer City. That's right, Your Highness. The 3 of us don't have much to do. We're also enjoying our retirement in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Why don't the 3 of us go to the street where Your Highness lives? Said Summer City. Sure. Then this matter is settled. Uncles, don't even think about going back, Night Sorrow said. After solving the problem of Summer City's trio, Night Sorrow went to the main pavilion. Dachura and Lin Xian were drinking tea and chatting. Aluo, I think we can get Ghost Monkey here. There's no need for him to stay in Guanyue Prefecture. We won't tell him some of Gong Yufan's secrets. Knowing that Gong Yufan has a conflict with Yuan-Ji and the Celestial Sect is enough, Night Sorrow said. Okay, then call him back. Dachura nodded. You're really something. You have a spy in Guanyue Prefecture. Lin Xian was stunned when she heard Night Sorrow and Dachura's conversation. It's not something that can be arranged. It's just a coincidence. Night Sorrow smiled and explained his interactions with Ghost Monkey. I see. Gong Yufan has lost another capable Heaven Monarch. Lin Xian smiled. Gong Yufan could only be considered unlucky. After receiving the notice, Ghost Monkey immediately announced that he was leaving Guanyue Prefecture and joining Star Moon Lake. Gong Yufan was furious when he heard this. Ghost Monkey's actions were a slap to his face, but he didn't have the ability to challenge Star Moon Lake. He could only endure this. The angriest one was Gong Xianyu. His bodyguard had left. He would be a laughingstock whenever he went out. Night Sorrow arranged for Ghost Monkey to stay at Lin High Street. He set up a stronghold there, where Star Moon Lake's patrols would rest. Ghost Monkey, Summer City, and the God-slaying team would all stay there. The other street was used by the Samsara World, Shenwu World, and Xianwang World. The patrols were arranged by Qing Emperor and the others. They just had to pay Night Sorrow rent regularly. Night Sorrow didn't need to worry about anything else. After dealing with most of the matters, Night Sorrow's main body headed to the Great Void River. Now, his domain of nothingness needed to be perfected as soon as possible. As for the domain of space-time, it was already formed. He could slowly improve it. The will of destruction was still 10% away. His main body went to cultivate while Night Sorrow's clone stayed at Night Moon Villa to deal with some matters. It was quiet for half a month. One day, when he was discussing the development of Star Moon Lake with Lin Xian, the Godfiend Castle's token in Night Sorrow's sleeve vibrated. Night Sorrow knew that the Godfiend Castle was summoning him, so he went there. As soon as he entered the God-Fiend castle, Elder Nalen appeared and welcomed Knight Sorrow into the underground God-Fiend castle. Congratulations! You're not even 200 years old, and you're already in the Emperor realm. This is too beautiful. Elder Nalen's face was full of smiles. You little brat, now you've caused a storm in the city. We want to apply for the position of God-Fiend Protector for you. Normally speaking, with your past achievements and entering the Emperor realm at 200 years old, the higher-ups would directly approve of you as a God-Fiend Protector. However, Elder Nalen and I feel that in order to avoid gossip and criticism, you should take the assessment. Then we'll report it. What do you think? Elder Nalen looked coldly at Knight Sorrow and asked, Many thanks to the two elders for your support. Knight Sorrow is very grateful. I accept the assessment. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was willing to take the assessment. Then, Knight Sorrow was brought into the assessment space. There were 3 one-star Emperor-level puppets. With the space-time domain, Knight Sorrow was in an invincible position. The 3 one-star Emperor-level puppets domains were unable to suppress Knight Sorrow's space-time domain. Not only was Knight Sorrow's speed fast, but the Emperor-level puppets' attacks were slowed down after entering the space-time domain. Their attacks were cancelled out by the space-time domain. They were no threat to Knight Sorrow. However, Knight Sorrow's True Dragon Destruction and Great Emperor Samsara Slash were extremely powerful. The puppets were unable to defend against them. In just a cup of tea's time, Knight Sorrow completed the assessment. In a cup of tea's time, he defeated 3 Emperor-level puppets. This is a great achievement. Knight Sorrow came out and clapped his hands. Then I'll have to trouble the 2 elders for the following matters. If there's a suitable mission, the 2 elders can inform me. Knight Sorrow said, There's one more thing to tell you. The God-Fiend Castle's Donghao Region's Protector, Donghao Ju, has passed the elders' assessment. Lung Nalen looked at Knight Sorrow and said, This isn't good news. Donghao Ju is an Emperor Realm expert? Knight Sorrow asked. Chapter 1675. Don't worry, I'll just be careful and defend myself. Knight Sorrow said. This involved the rules of the Divine Castle, so he couldn't make things difficult for Elder Nalen and Lung Lai. After chatting for a while, Knight Sorrow left the Divine Castle. Not far from the Divine Castle, Knight Sorrow turned around because Elder Nalen had also come out. Elder Nalen, do you have anything to tell Knight Sorrow? Knight Sorrow asked. I'm Elder Nalen, and I'm going to the City Lord's mansion now. What a coincidence, Lord Knight. Elder Nalen said with a smile. It's really a coincidence. Go to the tea house for a cup of tea? Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment, then smiled because Elder Nalen had completed the identity change. Sure, I've heard that the Twilight Tea House on Lin High Street is very famous now. It's only been open for half a month, but its reputation has already spread, Elder Nalen said. Then let's go. Let's go to the Twilight Tea House, Knight Sorrow said. Knight Sorrow and Elder Nalen went to the Twilight Tea House on Lin High Street. The Twilight Tea House was the one opened by Chin Shun. It was evening and Lin High Street was very lively. A row of red lanterns hung in the Twilight Tea House, making it seem like a pure land in the midst of the hustle and bustle of Lin High Street. Knight Sorrow and Elder Nalen entered and were received by someone. Knight Sorrow recognized them, as he had seen them at Chen Chen's tea house. My lords, our Twilight Tea House has 4 environments to choose from. Wind, flower, snow, and moon. Which one do you prefer? The receptionist asked. Elder Nalen, what do you think? Knight Sorrow looked at Elder Nalen. I remember that the last time I was here, there was only the Wind Pavilion. There are so many choices this time? Elder Nalen asked. Our boss has made arrangements. Lord Knight Sorrow has a reserved pavilion in each area of the Twilight Tea House. There are seats available whenever you come, the receptionist said. That works too. I've heard that the Twilight Tea House is the most popular place in the moon-admiring pavilion, and it's hard to find a seat. There are moons everywhere in the celestial realm, but the moon in the Twilight Tea House is different. I'd like to see it, Elder Lon said. Knight Sorrow and Elder Lon were led to the top floor of the Twilight Tea House by the receptionist. It was an elegant pavilion surrounded by vines, with a bright moon hanging overhead. Soon after, the receptionist served the tea. I wonder if Overlord Yi and this lord would like to personally brew the tea, or do you want me to help you brew it? Go and do your work. I could do it myself. After Night Sorrow took the tea, he personally made a pot of heart-cleansing tea. After a while, Elder Lawn, who had taken a sip of tea, narrowed his eyes and looked at the bright moon in the sky through the vines. When I look at the moon again after calming down, it's really a different feeling. There is no moon in the world, but the moon in the Twilight Tea House is different. This saying is true. When one's state of mind is different, one sees things differently, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The owner of this place is a genius. The price of tea here is dozens or even hundreds of times higher than other tea houses, but everyone is still thirsty for it. In the celestial realm, who is in the mood to drink tea, who would care about a small amount of Holy Spirit stones? The tea is good tea, the environment is good, and the Holy Spirit stones are well spent, Elder Lawn said. He's my sworn brother. His dream isn't to be a high-level cultivator. He wants to be a good businessman, a successful businessman, Night Sorrow said with a smile. He's already a good businessman. This place will become a symbol of the ethereal dynasty in the future, a place where people of high status can chat, gather, and discuss business, Elder Lawn said. He was very impressed with Chun Chin's idea of running a shop. The Twilight Tea House was not open during the day and only officially opened at night. The tea house was very large with hundreds of elegant pavilions, but it was still not enough. This was the effect Chun Chin wanted. I'll tell my sworn brother to reserve a room for Elder Lawn. Elder Lawn can come whenever he wants, Night Sorrow said. Huh, there's no need for that. If there's no good seat, it's not bad to have one. Elder Lawn said with a smile. At his level, he really did not care about anything. Chin Chun came and brought tea and snacks to Night Sorrow. My sworn brother, this is Elder Lawn from the City Lord's Mansion. There's often no seat when he comes. Can you arrange for him? Night Sorrow asked. Of course. I thought about some things. I want to run the business well. This place needs to be a place where famous people gather. Of course, it's necessary to have dealings with the outside world. So no matter how good the business is, there's always a reserved pavilion. My sworn brother, your 4 pavilions are for you to receive guests, Chun Chin said. Then can you give me a few VIP cards? I'll go give them out, so it won't be awkward when my friends come and don't have a seat, Night Sorrow said. These are VIP cards. Brother, don't give them out carelessly. The rarer something is, the more valuable it is. Chun Chin smiled and handed Night Sorrow a stack of purple crystal cards. Okay, I know. I'll try my best not to hinder you from making money, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, Chun Chin left. He knew that it was not appropriate for him to chat with Night Sorrow and Elder Lawn. He did not understand Night Sorrow's world. Night Sorrow handed a card to Elder Lawn. It's okay. It's not bad to bring an old friend over for tea. Okay, I'll accept it. Linhai Street is developing very well and is very unique. The City Lord's Mansion will also cooperate with the patrols here. After accepting a VIP card, I have to do something. The main thing is that when I drink tea in the future, I won't hear any discordant sounds, Elder Lawn said. $L most a new chapter, hashtag section U, unspecified currency above, then Night Sorrow, thanks Elder Lawn. Night Sorrow nodded. As for what you're facing now, it's not a big deal for the Donghao region to find trouble with you. They don't dare to do it directly, and they can't. They can only assassinate you. As long as they don't succeed at that time, the Emperor of the City Lord's Mansion will arrive. Elder Lawn brought up another topic. Elder Lawn did not say it too bluntly. It was enough that Night Sorrow understood. He was talking about the Donghao region's Donghao, Jew. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow sent Elder Lawn away and returned to the Twilight Tea House to Chun Chin's resting place. At this time, Chun Chin was lying on a rattan chair, swaying back and forth. Seeing that Night Sorrow had come, Chun Chin wanted to stand up. Don't, I'll also lie down for a while. Night Sorrow rested on another chair. The two of them talked for a while. Everything in the tea house was going smoothly, and no one was causing trouble. They earned 60 to 70,000 Saint Spirit stones every day, It was a very good business. Brother, you're robbing us. A day's income is probably the entire wealth of a king. Knight Sorrow was a little surprised. The Twilight Tea House was earning Saint Spirit Stones too fast. They earned 1 or 2 million Saint Spirit Stones in a month. It's said that the rarer something is, the more valuable it is. If 1 Saint Spirit Stone is a big bowl of tea, who knows about the Twilight Tea House? Gradually, the price will increase. The Twilight Tea House will be the most luxurious place in the ethereal empire. I've already made arrangements. If a few sisters-in-law come, they'll be received and arranged. Chun Shan explained his business experience and some of his arrangements. All right, your business is doing well, but you have to be careful. Many people know that you're my brother. I have quite a lot of enemies. Don't go outside and don't let anyone harm you. Knight Sorrow reminded. Chapter 1676. I'll be careful. Chun Shan nodded. Knight Sorrow then returned to the Night Moon Villa. Where did you go? It took you so long to come back. Dachira asked. Dachira, Sikong Chiyu, Yang Lei, Aoi, In Shi, and Lin Xian'er were chatting with Song Ning. I went to drink tea with Elder Lon of the City Lord's Mansion. You guys don't know, but right now, Foster Brothers' Twilight Tea House is booming. It's hard to find a seat, Yishan said as he sat down. Twilight Tea House? It would have been better if you didn't mention it. Woofing and I went there once to see the snow and wind, flower, snow, and moon, but there were no seats. It was really disappointing. Knight Sorrow, do you know? It costs 2,000 Saint Spirit Stones to enter the Sunset Villa's Snow Grace Pavilion. Isn't it just a snow tree made of ice and snow, or why are so many people entering with such a high price? Song Ning was a little angry after hearing Yishang's words. Old Song, let me ask you the truth. Do you still want to go? Knight Sorrow asked. I still want to go, but it's annoying that there are no seats. 2,000 Holy Spirit Stones are nothing. I can afford 20,000. Song Ning thought for a moment and said, it means that the business is doing well. So what if it's expensive? No one cares. Lin Xian'er said with a smile. I asked for a few VIP cards today. Sister Xian'er will give you one. Boss Song and Brother Woofing can use one each. Knight Sorrow took out 2 VIP cards and gave one to Lin Xian'er and Song Ning each. Okay, it's good to know you, Knight Sorrow. Song Ning said after taking the VIP cards. Knight Sorrow, what should we do? Yang Lei looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Knight Senior Sister, look at what you're asking. Your face is the VIP card. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Aoi and the others smiled. Chun Shan knew them, so it was convenient for them to go there. While they were chatting, Qing Emperor arrived at the Night Moon Villa. What's the matter, Master? Knight Sorrow asked. Yes, there is. I don't know why Donghao Mountain in the Donghao district has sent people to the vicinity of Star Moon Lake, Qing Emperor said. Something's happening at Mount Donghao. Knight Sorrow understood that it was his quest at the Divine Castle that had caused trouble. How dare they? Don't they know that Star Moon Lake is now an area recognized by the Misty Dynasty? Song Ning slammed the table. The other parties should know about this. That's why they've cut off one of the sources of stone that we use to construct Star Moon City from a place millions of miles away. This can't be considered as an attack. It can only be considered as an indirect suppression. The main materials that we use to construct Star Moon City are stone and wood. There are other sources for wood, but since the other party has cut off the stone, it's troublesome. Let's retreat for now and observe the other party's movements. The safety of our people is the most important thing, Knight Sorrow said. Okay, then let's look around and see if there are other sources of stone. Qing Emperor knew that Mount Donghao was very strong. He had come today to explain the situation to Knight Sorrow. He didn't want Knight Sorrow to take the risk of going against Mount Donghao. After Qing Emperor left, Knight Sorrow fell into deep thought. He then stood up and said, Aluo, Night Moon Villa is operating normally. Take care of the situation at Lin High Street. I'll go out and take a look. After Knight Sorrow left, Lin Xian didn't say anything. Song Ning didn't say anything either. They would wait and see what Lin Xian'er meant. After leaving Night Moon Villa, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array and arrived at Donghao District. He wanted to know how strong Dong Haojue was and whether there was a possibility of fighting him. If there was, then he would kill his way over and get rid of Dong Haojue. Night Sorrow wasn't a soft-hearted person. If there was a conflict, then he would resolve it. That assassin came to kill him and was killed by him because he wasn't strong enough. Dong Haojue wanted to suppress Star Moon Lake. This was something that he couldn't tolerate. After teleporting for 4 hours, Night Sorrow arrived at Donghao District. He then found a restaurant to drink and listen to other people's discussions. Since Mount Donghao made a move against Star Moon Lake, then there must be some news. Night Sorrow wanted to listen to other people's discussions. After walking through 4 cities, Night Sorrow heard the news that he wanted to investigate. 1 month ago, Mount Donghao's young lord, Dong Haojue, broke through and became an Emperor Realm expert. 4 to 6-star Thearchs were called Emperor Realm experts. Dong Haojue had just entered the Emperor Realm, which meant that he was cultivating at the 4-star the Arch Realm. Dong Haojue was 3 stages higher than himself. Night Sorrow knew that there was a huge gap between them. After all, there was a difference of 3 stages in cultivation. In between, there was the line between the initial and the middle stages. However, being blocked at the door without saying anything or reacting wasn't Night Sorrow's character. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow returned to Night Moon Villa. His main body stopped comprehending the realms and started to refine the Fire of Life and Monarch Realm, and the Arch Realm Evil Spirit's Fire of Life and Monarch Realm elixirs. At the same time, he asked Dachira to send the Gold Spirit to Star Moon City so that it could continue cultivating its combat skills. Night Sorrow, what are you trying to do? Lin Xian asked as she looked at Night Sorrow, who was cultivating his spear art. She knew that the energy fluctuation on Night Sorrow's body wasn't because his clone was cultivating his combat skills. Night Sorrow's clone didn't cultivate any combat skills, but the energy fluctuation was still there. This meant that it was caused by his main body. Mount Donghao is provoking me. If they want to fight, I will accompany them. Night Sorrow kept his space-splitting spear and said, "What did you find out?" Lin Xianer asked. Mount Donghao's operation at Star Moon Lake was initiated by Mount Donghao's young lord, Dong Haojue. He just entered the Emperor Realm some time ago. Night Sorrow shared the information he found out. He is an Emperor Realm expert. How are we going to fight? Dachira, who was standing at the side, asked. Emperor Realm expert. Emperor Realm expert is trying to scare me? If he is an Emperor Realm expert, are all the subordinates of Mount Donghao also Emperor Realm experts? I originally planned to cultivate slowly after reaching a certain level of cultivation. Since he forced me, I will play with him. When my main body space-time energy increases and my soul power is saturated, I will fight. Night Sorrow stated his decision. Night Sorrow, isn't it a little risky? They can't attack Star Moon Lake now anyway. Dachira said. It's not risky. If I can't kill an Emperor Realm expert, I will kill them. If they are capable, they can't retreat. Night Sorrow smiled. What do you mean? You don't plan to fight them head-on and take care of the areas where they can't withstand the attacks? Lin Xian could guess Night Sorrow's thoughts. Yes, but this is also considered borrowing the power of the Ethereal Dynasty. Mount Donghao has sealed off Star Moon Lake 1,000,000 miles away, which means that they are afraid of the Ethereal Dynasty and don't dare to attack directly. However, I dare to attack them. How many Emperor Realm experts does Mount Donghao have? Isn't it just 2? They want to capture me with just 2? They are thinking too much. If they want to play, I will play with them. Night Sorrow shared his thoughts. %P Yong 6 GOM. Free of charge. Read Novel 7. The thing you don't lack the most in life is passion. I am envious. Lin Xian smiled. Chapter 1677. Since you've decided, I'll support you, Dachira said. We'll have to wait for a while. My original body used the Monarch Pill and Flame of Life to increase my cultivation and soul power. It'll take some time for my cultivation to catch up with my realm. Knight Sorrow nodded. He was happy that Dechira supported him. How many times can your time acceleration treasure be? My space acceleration treasure can accelerate time by 40 times. Lin Xianair said. She wanted to help Knight Sorrow. My time acceleration treasure is not bad. It won't take long. Knight Sorrow said. The Clear Sky Pagoda could accelerate time by 50 times. Knight Sorrow felt that it would only take about half a year, less than a year. Normally, it would take more than 200 years for an Emperor Realm cultivator to increase one's cultivation by one level. However, Knight Sorrow used the best resources. The Monarch Pill could increase one's cultivation by refining it. The same went for the Flame of Life. Knight Sorrow had an Emperor Realm Flame of Life. Not bad. How many times? Lin Xianair was a little stunned after hearing Knight Sorrow's words. Knight Sorrow should be in need of time now. He actually didn't need her time acceleration treasure. My time acceleration treasure is a heavenly god artifact. The acceleration effect is not bad. Knight Sorrow stammered. He didn't want to hurt Lin Xianair's good intentions. Then it's 40 times more powerful than mine. Strong enough. Lin Xianair gave Knight Sorrow a thumbs up. Lin Xianair and Songming met in the City Lord's mansion. Miss, what's going on? Is Donghao Mountain going to attack Knight Sorrow? Songming didn't understand. Knight Sorrow didn't mention this, and neither did Donghao Mountain. However, it's obvious that there's a conflict. First, the Great Elder's son, Xian, was killed by a mission enforcer from the Divine Devil Castle. Then, one of the young lords of Donghao Mountain fell. It said that he was killed while carrying out a mission from the Divine Devil Castle. Do you understand some of these things? Lin Xianair asked Songming. So complicated. How should we deal with this matter? Songming asked. What do you mean by how to deal with it? As long as Mount Donghao doesn't attack Starmoon Lake, we won't care. As for the rest, they can do whatever they want, Lin Xianair said. The people of Donghao Mountain are surrounding Starmoon Lake and robbing the resources of Starmoon Lake. This makes me very angry. This is simply a slap in the face. Songming was a little angry. She felt that Donghao Mountain was bullying people. They were bullying Knight Sorrow because he was a newcomer to the Celestial Realm. Furthermore, they were bullying her friend. Face slapping. We still don't know who will be slapping whose face. That's right. I asked you to investigate the relationship between the Celestial Sect and Gong Yufan. Have you found anything yet? Lin Xianair changed the topic. Yes, I found out that Gong Yufan is very close to the Celestial Sect's elder Li Zhe. Through Li Zhe, Gong Yufan has also come into contact with Ling Daoxiu. In addition, there are traces of the Celestial Sect's development in the Guanyue Mansion, Songming said. I can tolerate some small mistakes, but why do they always touch my bottom line? Guanyue Mansion will be wiped out and a new one will be established. Wufeng will be the new mansion lord. Lin Xianair made her decision. Wufeng is capable, but he only has a few subordinates. He doesn't have enough power, Lin Xianair said. Lin Xianair then called for a meeting of the mansion elders. The only mansion lords present were Songming and Luo Yuandao. Of course, Luo Yuandao was now the enforcement elder. Lin Xianair announced the results of her investigation and her decision. Previously, when Yuan Ji obtained the Celestial Sect's puppet and asked his subordinates to fight Knight Sorrow, it was probably because of Gong Yufan. It doesn't matter if there are internal conflicts, but we can't betray him, Elder Lan said. I've decided to let Wufeng establish a new mansion. Elder Lan, arrange a team of guards to assist him for a period of 100 years, Lin Xianair said to Elder Lan. Look at the section in Chapter C of the original version. Understand, Elder Lan nodded. Clean up the Guanyue Mansion's forces with Wufeng as the main force. Songming, you will transfer an army from the Songming army to assist. Also, capture Gong Yufan and bring him back. If he resists, kill him on the spot. I'll leave the details to you, Lin Xianair said. Everyone in the mansion bowed and accepted the order. Also, isn't the Celestial Sect playing tricks? If we don't play any tricks, we'll just kill our way in. This time, I want the celestial sect's territory to be 80 million miles wide. You'll work together on this matter, Lin Xian said, then left the mansion hall in a flash. The few people in the mansion sat down and discussed the details. Lin Xian just set the general direction and left the details to them. Elder Lan, what do you think? Song Ning looked at Elder Lan. Find someone to divine the situation of Gong Yufan's original body and clone. I'll bring people to flatten the Guanyue mansion. No matter if it's Gong Yufan's original body or his clone, I'll take him down, Elder Lan said. After finding someone to divine, they found that Gong Yufan's original body was in the mansion, while his clone was cultivating elsewhere. The location was also confirmed. It was in the Celestial Sect's territory in the 1,000-level catacombs, not far from the Ethereal Dynasty. I'll be responsible for his clone in the 1,000-level catacombs. I'll also mobilize the Shadow Army of the Shadow Mansion. Song Ning, you can let Wufeng lead it, Luo Yuandao said. It seems that Wufeng and I have the easiest tasks. All right, we'll do it together at noon tomorrow. Elder Luo will also be in the 1,000-level catacombs at that time, so we won't alert the enemy, Song Ning said. All right, it's settled. Once we're done with our tasks, we'll gather at Song Ning and Wufeng's location. Lord Battle Emperor wants us to travel 80 million miles, so we can't be less than 1 mile, Elder Lan said. Elder Lan was an elder of the Godfiend Castle, but his roots were in the Ethereal Dynasty. The Celestial Sect was disrespecting the Ethereal Dynasty by targeting the Guanyue Mansion, so Elder Lan couldn't tolerate it. Night Sorrow's clone was cultivating the space-time domain and improving his combat ability. He didn't care about what was happening outside. However, Ghost Monkey came to report the situation. You're saying that Gong Yufan was crippled by Elder Lan of the City Lord's Mansion and brought to the City Lord's Mansion? Night Sorrow was surprised by the news. That's not all. The Song Ning Legion's Flying Rock Legion, Umbra Manor's Umbra Legion, and the City Lord's Manor's Law Enforcement Squad swept through Guanyue Manor under the leadership of Song Ning and Lord Wufeng. The City Lord's Mansion ordered Guanyue Mansion to be wiped out. The new 7th mansion will be named Wufeng Mansion, and the mansion lord will be Lord Wufeng, Ghost Monkey said. No wonder I haven't seen them for the past 2 days. It seems that Gong Yufan did something that the City Lord's Mansion can't tolerate. Go and investigate, Night Sorrow said. After putting away the Space Splitter Spear, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He knew that only the Ethereal Battle Emperor could deal with Gong Yufan. He didn't know what Gong Yufan had done to anger the Ethereal Battle Emperor. Chapter 1678. Yang Tianlai was scared. He didn't know what was going on. He was worried that he and Gong Yufan had angered Ethereal Battle Emperor by going against Night Sorrow. Now that Gong Yufan had fallen, he was worried that he would be the next. Yang Tianlai knelt for 4 hours before Lin Piamiao appeared. Greetings, my lady. Yang Tianlai bowed. These 4 hours are your punishment. You need to remember that a person should live with dignity. You need to weigh the consequences before doing anything. This time, what you did wasn't worth it. Lin Piamiao said coldly. I know my mistake. Yang Tianlia's face was covered in sweat. However, he heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that Lin Piamiao had already punished him and wouldn't punish him. I didn't punish you this time because you didn't betray Ethereal Empire. Also, you know what humiliation is. Isn't it shameful to lose to Night Sorrow? Very shameful. If you know it's shameful, then you should be brave. Besides, Night Sorrow is upright. Why did you offend him for no reason? Lin Piamiao lectured Yang Tianlai. Lin Piamiao knew that Night Sorrow was the Merit Grand Sage. Whoever offended Night Sorrow wouldn't have a good ending. Hence, she reminded Yang Tianlai. It was my mistake. I won't do it again. Yang Tianlai said, All right, you can go back. I believe that after this incident, you'll understand something. Lin Piamiao waved her hand at Yang Tianlai. Originally, Lin Piamiao was very angry with Yang Tianlia's actions. However, after dealing with Gong Yufan, she felt touched. She didn't want to hurt her old brothers anymore. This feeling came from a friendship between Night Sorrow and her brothers. She knew that Lin Piaomiao's heart ached when dealing with Gong Yufan. It was Luo Yuandao who killed Gong Yufan. However, on account of their past relationship, they didn't destroy Gong Yufan's soul and gave him a chance to reincarnate. Guanyue Prefecture's territory was taken over by Wufeng Prefecture. The plaque of Guanyue Prefecture was also changed to Wufeng Prefecture. The Misty City's City Lore Mansion also announced the reason for dealing with Gong Yufan. The main reason was that he shouldn't have gotten too close to the Misty Dynasty's rival, the Celestial Sect. Furthermore, he allowed the Celestial Sect to develop in the Misty Dynasty's territory. This was a betrayal to the Misty Dynasty. On the other hand, the Misty Dynasty's mansion lords and elders led their troops to push forward. They directly killed their way into the territory of the Celestial Sect. After advancing for 80 million miles, they planted the imperial flag of the Misty Dynasty there. Soon after, the Flying Rock Army began to set up defenses. The other 6 prefectures also sent out a portion of their forces to consolidate their territories. Song Ning even shouted at the people of the Celestial Sect. If the Celestial Sect dared to scheme against the Misty Dynasty again, the Misty Dynasty would attack them again. Domineering. This was the domineering aura of the Misty Dynasty. So what if the Celestial Sect had 2 monarchs? There was no need for the Ethereal Battle Emperor to step in. The Emperor of the Ethereal Empire could fight. Not to mention that the Celestial Sect's Celestial Saint Emperor was so scared by the great Demon King that he didn't dare to show himself. Even if the Celestial Saint Emperor was here, the Ethereal Empire would still fight. KC Original Version 3**. Chapter C Section 9J above equals the Misty Dynasty had banished the family of Guanyue Prefecture's Gong Yufan as punishment. They weren't allowed to live in the former Guanyue Prefecture, which was the territory of the Wufeng Prefecture. The other 6 prefectures' territories allowed them to live and develop. This arrangement was mainly to prevent them from being hostile to the Wufeng Prefecture and hindering the development of the Wufeng Prefecture. This was a huge storm. If the fall of the Guanyue Prefecture and the rise of the Wufeng Prefecture were considered a major event in the Misty Dynasty, then the Misty Dynasty taking over the 80 million territories of the Celestial Sect was a major event in the nearby regions. In the past, the Celestial Sect had an emperor. Now, they had 2 monarchs. However, the Misty Dynasty attacked them without any notice. This was how domineering they were. Of course, the Misty Dynasty had also issued an announcement stating the reason for attacking the Celestial Sect. It was because the Celestial Sect was too despicable. In addition, they also stated that no matter which sect or force, as long as they dared to offend the Misty Dynasty would attack them directly. This was the style of the Misty Dynasty. Although Night Sorrow did not go out, news would still reach him. Ghost Monkey could investigate, and the God-Slaying Squad also had members who could do the same. Night Sorrow was happy for Wufeng. No matter how powerful Wufeng's enemies were, or whether they had an emperor or not, they would have to consider the Misty Battle Emperor's attitude if they wanted to touch Wufeng. In the East How Mountains encampment around the Star Moon Lake, a few people were discussing the current situation with Dong Haojue, who was sitting on the main seat. They were worried that the Misty Dynasty would attack the East How Mountain ruthlessly, and the East How Mountain wouldn't be able to withstand it. I've told the Sectmaster about this matter. The Misty Dynasty prides themselves on doing things in an open and above-board manner. Then, what reason do they have to attack the East How region? We didn't invade the Misty Dynasty like the Celestial Sect. So what if they protect the Star Moon Lake? We didn't attack the Star Moon Lake. So even if they want to interfere, they don't have a valid reason, said Dong Haojue. This was the conclusion that Dong Haojue had reached after discussing with the East How Mountain's Mountain Lord. The Misty Battle Emperor wouldn't go back on his words. Besides, Dong Haojue had told his father that he was avenging his younger brother. The East How Mountain's Mountain Lord didn't ask about the details. He didn't join the Godfiend Castle, but he knew some things and understood why Dong Haojue was doing this. Naturally, he supported him. He also knew that this wouldn't be a reason for the Misty Dynasty to attack the East How Mountain. With the East How Mountain's Mountain Lord support, Dong Haojue's plan went smoothly. He contacted the World Edge Pavilion and cut off the Star Moon Lake from the World Edge Pavilion. Then, Dong Haojue did some research and felt that it wouldn't be a problem to completely cut off the Star Moon Lake because of the geography. The Star Moon Lake was an ungoverned area. The East Hao Mountain, the World Edge Pavilion, and the Misty Dynasty didn't occupy it. It was an empty area. There was also an empty area between the Star Moon Lake and the Greenwater City. It wasn't part of the Greenwater City, which meant that it wasn't part of the Misty Dynasty's territory. The Misty Dynasty ordered that the area around the Star Moon Lake was under the Star Moon Lake's name. As long as Dong Haojue didn't enter this area, he would be fine. Dong Haojue ordered his men to surround the Star Moon Lake from 3 sides and cut off the road. He was waiting for Night Sorrow to show up. As long as Night Sorrow showed up, he would kill Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow received all this news. Even a king from the Black-Yellow Great World's Wuling Mountain was killed by Dong Haojue. After receiving the news, Night Sorrow was furious. However, he didn't lose his cool. His original body was still rapidly improving its strength. He didn't lack time. Night Sorrow informed the Star Moon Lake's members that they wouldn't come out for the time being. If they needed resources urgently, they would purchase them from the Misty Dynasty or mobilize them from the Nine Regions world. They wouldn't contact the East Hao Mountain for the time being. In addition, after learning that the World Edge Pavilion had joined forces with the East Hao Mountain, Night Sorrow had another grudge in his heart. Those who bullied the weak Star Moon Lake had to pay the price. Seeing that Night Sorrow was calm, Lin Xian'er felt more at ease. She was worried that Night Sorrow would act impulsively. She found that Night Sorrow cared a lot about the information about the Emperor-level White Tiger's blood essence and the Emperor-level Dragon's blood essence. He would ask about it almost every day. Chapter 1679. This matter was not difficult for Lin Xian'er. She did not say anything because Wu Lingfei's current situation was not critical and she could still hold on. Furthermore, Lin Xian'er believed that the existence of the evil dragon Poison Flame was currently harmful to Wu Lingfei, but in the long run, it was also a test of her endurance and tenacity. It was also a training process for her body. In addition, out of concern for Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow also had the motivation to work hard. Xiaohou and the other 2 arrived at the Star Moon Mountain Villa. Your Highness, they've gone too far. The 3 of us will go fight them. Xiaohou's eyes were full of anger. He, Xin Daozi, and Sheng Wanhong knew that Star Moon Lake was surrounded and were very angry, so they came to Night Sorrow to ask for help. Back then, the 3 of them had followed Night Sorrow and rampaged through the Chaos Realm, killing everyone. Now, it was difficult for them to accept this. They've gone too far. Uncles, don't be anxious. We must vent our anger. I have a plan, but it will have to wait, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness has a plan, so we'll wait. When your Highness wants to go out, you must call the 3 of us. Dong Hao Mountain is strong now, but in our eyes, they're trash. How many years have they been developing? Give your Highness some time, even if it's 100th of the time, and your Highness can easily crush them, Sheng Wanhong said. I remember that Uncle Sheng Wan is the most stable. Why are you so agitated this time? Night Sorrow took out a tea set and brewed a pot of tea. It's not that I'm agitated, it's that Dong Hao Mountain is too despicable. Even if we can't beat them, we still have to fight, Sheng Wanhong said. Your Highness, you don't know, but this hypocrite's temper has become very bad after staying with your Highness. If it's not killing this person, it's killing that person, Summer City said. This is the courage of the people of the Chaos Realm. Uncles, go back first. When we kill and burn, I'll definitely call the 3 of you. We have to vent our anger, Night Sorrow said. Summer City and the other 2 left. After getting the answer they wanted, they returned to Lin High Street. Right after the 3 from Summer City left, the members of the God-slaying squad arrived. Long Jin, Liang Yu, Yin Huang, and Qin Jun came together. Their goal was the same as the 3 from Summer City, which was to represent the God-slaying squad in battle. Haha, Uncle Xia and the others just came. Just like you guys, they also want to fight. Actually, the one who wants to fight the most is me, but I'm still lacking the right time. Go back and wait for the news. Don't give in when I'm about to fight, Night Sorrow said. More I equals new/most I fast. Previous 8D, Captain, you're wrong. When have we, the God-slaying squad, ever been soft? When will I, Long Jean, ever be soft? Then let's go back and wait for orders. Long Jean left with Liang Yu, Yun Huang, and Qin Jun. Your primal chaos realm is quite interesting. Donghao Mountain can easily produce a heavenly monarch, right? The people around you are all kings and sovereigns, but you still want to fight. Looking at your aura, those who don't know would think that you are a group of emperors. Song Ning, who had come to see Lin Xian'er and had tea with her, said, "This has nothing to do with cultivation. It's strength of character and bravery. With such a fearless group of people, it's hard for the primal chaos realm not to rise." Lin Xian'er directly refuted Song Ning's words. People with bravery and strength of character could not be underestimated and had to be respected. Yes, we are not afraid of any battle. As long as someone dares to bully us, we will fight back. We just need to wait a little longer. There's still the World Edge Pavilion. This matter is not over yet. Night Sorrow finished speaking and went to the training ground to continue practicing his spear. The World Edge Pavilion is really something. Why do they get involved in this mess for no reason? They know that Star Moon Lake is a force recognized by the Ethereal Dynasty, and Night Sorrow is a lord recognized by the Ethereal Dynasty. They are really brainless. Lin Xian'er was a little angry because the World Edge Pavilion did not give her any face. I should have told Lord Battle Emperor to send an army over to kill them, Song Ning muttered. There's no hurry. The Ethereal Dynasty's attention should be on the Celestial Sect now. Besides, Woofing Mansion has just been established and needs to be stabilized. Let Donghao Mountain and the World Edge Pavilion jump around. I have a feeling that they won't be able to jump around for long, Lin Xian'er said. Why do you say that, Sister Xian'er? Song Ning did not understand. That's a ruthless person. He cultivated to the Emperor realm in 200 years. What will he be like in another 200 years? Sigh, why are there always people who can't see through it? Are they really blind because their lives are over? I really don't know how to explain this phenomenon, Lin Xian'er said. It can only be explained by being blind. Sister Xian'er, that Twilight Tea House is really good. Yesterday, I took Woofing to the Snow Grace Pavilion and felt that it was really good. They really do business there. The environment, the tea, and the service are all first class. The 2,000 Saint Spirit Stones are really worth it. Sister Xian'er, shall we try tonight? Song Ning looked at Lin Xian'er and asked, You only felt it when you went with Woofing. If I want to go, I'll go alone. Night Sorrow and Aluo can also go with me, Lin Xian'er said. What's going on? Why aren't you going with me? Song Ning was stunned and asked, I won't disturb you. Woofing is not good at communicating. You should help with the construction of Woofing Mansion. Also, go and inform the people of Gong Yufan's family to not have any ideas. This way, they can live peacefully, Lin Xian'er said to Song Ning. She didn't want to kill anyone, so she reminded him. If the people of Gong Yufan dared to cause trouble, even if she didn't want to kill them, there would be people who would. After Song Ning left, Lin Xian'er watched Night Sorrow cultivate the space-time domain. Seeing the power of Night Sorrow's space-time domain, she was very impressed. As long as one couldn't suppress Night Sorrow in terms of domain, it would be very difficult to defeat Night Sorrow. In the space-time domain, the effects of time acceleration and deceleration were very obvious. The space was layered and it was very difficult to attack Night Sorrow, unless the attack was very powerful. Seeing that Night Sorrow had finished cultivating, Lin Xian'er clapped her hands and said, Night Sorrow, your space-time domain is really powerful. If I can't suppress your domain, it will be very difficult to fight with you. The space-time domain is very strong, but there is still the sovereign attribute domain. I can't relax at all, Night Sorrow said. You're right. However, it's extremely rare to see someone with the sovereign attribute. Currently, there are Emperor Realm cultivators with the sovereign attribute, but they're all stuck at a bottleneck. It took them countless years to deduce that they have the sovereign attribute. It's not necessarily complete. How can such people be emperors or monarchs? They might even be emperors. There won't be any conflict between you and them. You're too tired. Let's go to Twilight Tea House's Admiring Moon Pavilion. It's so famous. It would be a pity if we don't try it. Lin Shinner said. Sure. Ji Dao, where's Aluo? Night Sorrow asked Ji Dao. The madams went out together. I wanted to protect them, but I was chased back. Ji Dao said. Chapter 1680. Night Sorrow and Lin Shinner arrived at the Twilight Tea House. A receptionist welcomed them, and they went to the Moon Admiring Pavilion. It's really beautiful. The design is very original. After sitting down, Lin Shinner said, there was no need for the staff. Night Sorrow was a tea master himself. After cleaning the tea set, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of heart-cleansing tea. Lin Shinner took a sip of tea. After the effects of the heart-cleansing tea were felt, she raised her head and looked at the bright moon in the sky. I've lived in the heaven realm for many years, but this is the first time I feel that the moon is so beautiful. It's as clean as water. Isn't it written on the door of the Twilight Tea House's Moon Admiring Pavilion that there are moons everywhere in the world? Only the Twilight Moon is different? This shouldn't be an exaggeration, right? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. Tell your sworn brother to stop business for 2 days and change the structure slightly. Just raise the price and double it. People with deep pockets won't care about such a small price like drinking tea. It will only make the Twilight Tea House more famous and become a unique symbol of the ethereal dynasty. Lin Shinner said, my sworn brother is good at doing business. Sister Shinner is good at this too? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. This involves the inner thoughts of people. If it's too easy to get, it won't be precious. Lin Shinner explained. At this time, Chun Chun came and brought 2 plates of tea and snacks. Night Sorrow introduced Chun Chun and Lin Shinner to each other. Night Sorrow, do you remember this tea and snacks? Chun Chun looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, the osmanthus cake from Zhiyuan Village. It's been many years, and it's always been in the depths of my memory. Don't sell this. If others can't appreciate it, it'll blaspheme the beauty in our hearts. Night Sorrow nodded. This was something in the depths of his memory. When he went hunting, Aunt Lin made this and then wrapped it in oil paper for him to carry. Vyong, Geo, and I Free Read. Novel 7-inch mm. This isn't for sale. Your sister-in-law made it. It's only for our family to try. Chun Chun said with a smile. Sister Shinner, this is my favorite thing when I was young. Night Sorrow took the tea and refreshments plate and put it in front of Lin Shinner. If you don't want to share it with others, then I have to try it. Lin Shinner smiled and took a piece, then tasted it. I don't know if others can appreciate it, but I like it very much. The next time I come, Boss Chun can give me a plate. If Miss Lin likes it, that's not a problem. In fact, deep down, I still hope that someone will appreciate the things I like, Chun Chun said. I really admire you. I'm not just being polite. Lin Shinner nodded. Just enjoy it. Night Sorrow, I have good news for you. Do you know about the enlightenment tea produced in the unbounded wilderness of the 9 regions world? Chun Chun looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Night Sorrow nodded. Yeah, I've tasted before, but it's very rare. I only managed to get a little bit of it when I was helping the realm of unbounded desolation. He remembered that the Lord of Roaring Tiger City had given Wu Lingfei some. The good news is that I've successfully planted and grafted it. The first batch of enlightenment tea has been produced. Chin Chin took out a small teapot and placed it in front of Night Sorrow. Brother, let's not talk about your cultivation talent, but you're definitely a genius in other aspects, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Then, Chun Chun left. Let's go. Let's go somewhere else and try the enlightenment tea again, Night Sorrow said, holding the pot of enlightenment tea. Lin Shinner nodded and carried the tea and snacks tray. Night Sorrow smiled and took Lin Shinner to the Shuya Pavilion, then brewed a pot of enlightenment tea. After drinking it, Lin Shinner was quiet for a while, then opened her eyes. The way of tea is really broad and profound. This enlightenment tea will be a great shock. The Twilight Tea House is amazing. You have a VIP card. What are you worried about? You can come whenever you want. Night's Sorrow said. The VIP card only proves that you have a seat. Do you think you don't need to spend sacred spirit stones? Song Ning and Wu Feng came over. No, the isolation formation here isn't strong enough. We'll have to ask someone to take care of it when the time comes, Night's Sorrow said. What? When you came, we just happened to see it. We didn't scout it, Song Ning said as he sat down. You have a VIP card, but you're still not satisfied. You want to eat and drink for free. Night's Sorrow said to Song Ning, who reached out to eat from the tea and snacks tray in front of Lin Xianer. All right, it's a pity that I didn't invest in this good business. If I had shares here, I'd be eating and drinking for free. Song Ning took a bite of the osmanthus cake and reached out to take it again, but Lin Xianer slapped his hand away. Sister Xianer, Song Ning was stunned. This is mine. If you want to eat it, think of a way, Lin Xianer said. I'll ask someone for it. I'll call the waiter. Song Ning pulled a rope in the pavilion. It was the copper bell used to summon the waiter. The waiter came and bowed. What can I do for you, sir? Give me 2 servings of this. Song Ning pointed at the osmanthus cake in front of Lin Xianer. Sir, I'm sorry. That's our madam's cooking. It's only for the owner to taste. The Twilight Tea House doesn't have this kind of dessert. Sir, you should look at something else. The waiter bowed. Kid, look carefully. I'm your VIP here. Song Ning took out the VIP card and waved it. The VIP card was issued by our domain master. It proves that you're our domain master's friend. Friends should respect each other and not be above friends. Please don't make things difficult for us. The waiter said in a tone that was neither servile nor overbearing. Aren't you afraid of offending your domain master and making her angry? I'll talk to your domain master about this in a while. Song Ning said, I'm afraid, but I'm from Bamboo Garden City. I'm from the same place as our domain master. Even if I lose my head in the next moment, I can't embarrass our Bamboo Garden City. The young waiter said, just wait to be dealt with. Wait to lose your head. Song Ning slammed the table. If the domain master wants to punish me, there's no need for him to do anything. My head will come off for me. However, I can only say one thing. It's blasphemous for the Twilight Tea House's VIP card to be in your hands. The young waiter looked a little angry. AI, Night's Sorrow, you win. Song Ning sighed, because this young man, who had no cultivation, had never said anything that would cause him to lose his dignity, even if he was just an attendant. No one blames you. I'm more than happy to see a young man like you. Bamboo Garden City. I haven't returned to Bamboo Garden City for a while. I'll proudly say this. I'm the pride of Bamboo Garden City, and so are you. Song Ning, don't scare the children of Bamboo Garden City in the future. Night's Sorrow said. Unite, you're the domain master. The young man recognized Night's Sorrow after looking at him. There were many statues of Night's Sorrow in the 9-domain world. However, the young man had encountered difficulties when he entered the pavilion and did not recognize him. Chapter 1681. Xiao Mo greets the region leader. The young man bowed to Night's Sorrow. You look familiar, but I can't tell. Maybe it's because we were born in the same place. Night's Sorrow looked at Xiao Mo and said, My ancestor is from Zhiyuan village. His name is Xiao Kuan. According to the genealogy, my ancestor and the region leader knew each other. Xiao Mo said, Xiao Kuan, Aunt Lin's son. I grew up wearing the clothes that your ancestor, Aunt Lin, sewed. I didn't take care of Aunt Lin and the others. Night's Sorrow felt a little sour because the elders of Zhiyuan village had all passed away. At that time, he didn't have the limitless longevity fruit. I'm very happy to see the region leader here. The young Xiao Mo said, Follow Boss Chun and gain experience. You can't fall behind in your cultivation. That's the only way to gain dignity. Night's Sorrow said, Xiao Mo understands. Xiao Mo nodded. You'll have a bright future. Go. Tell my sworn brother to bring 2 plates of tea and snacks. Night's Sorrow was very pleased. Although Xiao Mo's cultivation was low, his arrogance was in his bones. Night's Sorrow, I'm sorry. I was just teasing him and got myself confused. Song Ning said apologetically. It's nothing. When I saw the descendants of Bamboo Garden Village, I felt quite emotional. The osmanthus cake in my memory was made for me by his ancestor, Annie Lynn. At that time, it was Annie Lynn who helped me sew and mend my clothes. This child has a backbone. I'm very gratified, said Yishang. We have more cultivation than him. In terms of personality, dignity, and strength of character, we don't have any sense of superiority. So he doesn't have stage fright at all. He may be afraid, but he definitely won't back down. Lin Xianer said. After drinking tea, Night Sorrow went to Chun Chun. Because of Xiao Mo? He told me. Chun Chun said. Yes, I want this person, Night Sorrow said. When I saw him, I thought about this problem. I felt that it was important to first train his social experience and develop his character, so I arranged for him to stay in the tea house. He had been working in 9 Regions City some time ago, and he had just brought him over. I think it's more suitable for you to train for a while longer. As for the Cultivation Foundation, no matter how useless your sworn brother is, it shouldn't be a problem for him to cultivate a foundation, Chun Chun said. I was too anxious. Then we'll do as my sworn brother says. He did very well today. Also, if anyone tries to make things difficult for us, there's no need to compromise. We're doing business, not selling our face or dignity. Night Sorrow emphasized his attitude, then continued with Lin Xian'er's suggestion before leaving. Night Sorrow, you're not really angry, are you? Song Ning, who was waiting at the door, asked. No, I just think that this reflects a problem. Twilight Tea House is doing business, so there will be all kinds of customers, so principles are very important, Night Sorrow said after leaving the Twilight Tea House. It's very simple. Tomorrow, I'll ask the War Emperor to write a plaque. People with low morals won't dare to mess around. Sister Xian'er, don't you think so? Song Ning looked at Lin Xian'er. Yes, it's very necessary. Lin Xian nodded with a smile. Song Ning was using her as a favor. That's not very appropriate, is it? It's a little unreasonable to trouble the War Emperor with this matter, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, I apologize for touching some of the pain in your heart with my joke today, Song Ning said. Boss Song, you're boring. Everyone knows you were joking. Also, you helped me find an old friend, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, I like this Xiao Mo very much. Let him calm down in the tea house. When the time comes, I'll take him away, Wu Feng, who had been silent all this time, said. Thank you, big brother. Night Sorrow nodded to Wu Feng. I like his character. I like his bravery. Wu Feng said the reason why he admired Xiao Mo Night Sorrow and Lin Xian, her return to Star Moon Mountain Villa. After chatting with his wives who had not returned to the 9 Regions world for a while, they continued to cultivate. At this time, the energy fluctuations on Night Sorrow's body were very strong. Even Alikula's true body could not suppress it. This was a sign that his main body's cultivation was rapidly increasing. He was more anxious because Donghao Mountain was very arrogant now. They had surrounded Star Moon Lake. This was a slap in the face, which made many people angry. Song Ning went to the Linglong Pagoda in the City Lord's mansion and found Lin Piao. She came with a blank signboard. You want me to do something? Next time, do it yourself. Lin Piao glared at Song Ning. However, she waved her right hand and carved the words Twilight Tea House on the signboard. Thank you, Sister Xian'er. The osmanthus cake today was really delicious, Song Ning said with a smile. You're such a bastard. Are you planning to take this signboard to the Twilight Tea House and make them feel grateful? Then you can do whatever you want and eat whatever you want. Is that what you're trying to say? Lin Xian looked at Song Ning and scolded him because she knew what he was thinking. Sister Xian, you just casually waved it. If there's good food, I'll definitely share it with you, Song Ning said. Do I need you? If I want to eat, is there no way? Lin Xian glared at Song Ning and then went back to the Linglong Pagoda. Song Ning didn't put the signboard into his storage ring. He carried it with one hand and went to Twilight Tea House. He stood at the door and shouted to the receptionist. Lord Battle Emperor personally bestowed this signboard. Tell your boss to come and receive it. The only authentic copy, why? The other, the pirated copy Lord Battle Emperor personally bestowing a signboard was a big deal. Currently, only the signboard of the 7th City Lord's residence had been personally bestowed by Lord Battle Emperor. There was no Lord Battle Emperor's handwriting left behind. Now that Song Ning had brought Lord Battle Emperor's handwriting, Twilight Tea House had to welcome him respectfully. Chun Chun and the Twilight Tea House's receptionist took the signboard and hung it up. Chun Chun, thanks Lord. Chun Chun cupped his hands to Song Ning to express his gratitude. After coming to the ethereal imperial city to do business, Chun Chun already knew most of the important people in the ethereal imperial city. You're welcome. I'm Knight Soro's friend, so I won't be stingy if it's within my power. However, Boss Chun, you can't be stingy with your refreshments. Song Ning's voice was lower when he said the last sentence. Refreshments? I understand. Chun Chun was stunned for a moment. Then he remembered what happened not long ago. That's good. With the signboard bestowed by Lord Battle Emperor, no one will dare to make trouble in the future. If anyone makes trouble, you could take down the signboard and give it to him to smash. Let's see who dares to smash it. Song Ning pointed at the signboard and said, Thank you for your advice, Lord. Chun Chun smiled. Do you think it's easy to shamelessly ask for a signboard? Song Ning muttered. It's not easy for Lord. In the future, I'll give you a discount and a VIP card when you come here. I'll make a mark so that the people below will understand. Chun Chun said. She took the VIP card with a mark and left. She was in a great mood. She didn't need the Holy Spirit stones. What she wanted was the feeling in the face. Of course, Twilight Tea House also gained a lot. The Lord Battle Emperor bestowed a signboard, which meant that Lord Battle Emperor was very sure of this place. How could business not be good? And NB says here's the first update. Chapter 1682. Father, it's so rare for the War Emperor to bestow us a plaque. He looked at the plaque excitedly. Hard to come by? It's all because of your uncle. Do you think he'll give us a plaque for tea and snacks? It's all because of your uncle. If the War Emperor didn't value your uncle, there wouldn't be a lord. Chun Chun looked at his son and said. He felt that Shinju Kong was a little silly. In fact, it was not that. He just didn't think about anything and thought too simply. Chun Chun, then, went to the Night Moon Villa. He wanted to tell Knight Sorrow about receiving the plaque. If there was a favor or something wrong, Knight Sorrow could deal with it in time. After receiving this news, Knight Sorrow smiled. I know about this. It's okay to accept it. It's just a tea house. We're not using the plaque for anything. It's good that you know. I don't care about the favor. You can pay it back when the time comes. Chun Chun said. Knight Sorrow sent Chun Chun away. He didn't care much about this matter. A favor was nothing. Your adopted brother is not bad. He's doing well in business, and he's also very principled, Lin Xianer said. He's afraid of bringing me trouble or a favor. It's mainly because he understands me better. Knight Sorrow said. The people around you are good. They're all so strong. There's no deception. Lin Xianer was very envious of Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow only needed to focus on external affairs. His internal affairs were incomparably harmonious. It wasn't like this before. It was like the waves washing away the sand. The trash in our world who couldn't keep up with the pace were all eliminated. It's also been through the baptism of many wars. Knight Sorrow said, just like the ethereal dynasty, 2 vermin have been eliminated recently. Lin Xianer nodded. The survival of the fittest. Those who were not suitable were eliminated. This was the rule. Sikong Chiyu held a family banquet, and Knight Sorrow invited Lin Xianer, who lived in the Night Moon Villa, to attend. Originally, Knight Sorrow had planned to invite Wu Feng because he knew that Wu Feng did not have any relatives. However, she was stopped by Lin Xianer. I didn't guess wrong. Song Ning and Wu Feng are together. She must have gone to the Twilight Tea House. Huh, not bad. Big brother Wu Feng is introverted, old, and strong. We complement each other well, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. You can tell as well? Lin Xianer asked as she looked at Knight Sorrow. Of course I can. From his actions, I can see that when Brother Seamless has something to do, Old Man Song would immediately take action without saying anything. When we went to the evil, punishing land, Brother Wu Feng would never leave Old Man Song's side. That's how it is. Night Sorrow explained what he saw. Wu Feng has a repressed past, so he is a bit of a loner. However, he treats the people he recognizes with sincerity and is a rare good friend. There is good karma between the two of you. Of course, not everyone can be your friend, Yi Shang, Lin Xianer said. A repressed past can be considered a knot in one's heart. Only when the knot is untied can one be happy. I was the same in the past. I couldn't find my parents and my family was suppressed. My life was more tiring and difficult. You could say that there was no reason for me to be happy. However, since we made it through, I believe that Big Brother Woofing can overcome these difficulties, Night Sorrow said after inviting Lin Xianer to sit down. Yi Qingyan greeted Lin Xianer as Aunt Xianer and sat beside her. Yi Yujun and Yi Xiaolei also greeted them. Yi Xiaoluo was not here as he had returned to the Yuan Dao Celestial to cultivate. Night Sorrow, I really envy you. You can have a family reunion. Lin Xianer was a bit touched because she had not experienced such an atmosphere in a long time. It's simple. Find a good person and marry him. Then you will have everything, Yi Qingyan said. You set yourself. Find a good person and marry him. Are there so many good people? Lin Xianer smiled and looked at Yi Qingyan. That's true. My mother always talks about me. But how can there be so many good men in the world? Besides, women don't have to marry. The Misty Battle Emperor isn't married either, right? Look at him. He is so mighty and domineering. Yi Qingyan nodded. How can a child make so many guesses? Night Sorrow muttered. His wives were the ones who worried about the children. He did not ask about their daily lives. Father, this is not guessing. There is no woman who doesn't want to marry. It's just that they can't find the right person. I have never seen the Battle Emperor, but as a woman, I can understand some things. Father, this is what you don't understand. Yi Qingyan poured Night Sorrow a cup of wine and said, if you don't understand, then don't understand. Night Sorrow did not say anything else because this was something he did not understand. Night Sorrow cultivated every day. However, he noticed that Lin Xianer's attitude had changed. She had actually opened her mouth to give Yi Qingyan pointers. Night Sorrow was grateful, but he did not say anything. Some things were enough for him to know. Yishang looked at Lin Xianer when he was resting after cultivating once more. Sister Xianer, I wonder when the Battle Emperor will allow us to enter evil punishing land again. Waiting like this is not a solution, Night Sorrow said. There's no rush. Actually, waiting for a while is also a good thing, Lin Xianer said. Sister Xianer, I don't understand what you mean. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Xianer in confusion, waiting for her to explain. You've obtained a lot of merit power this time. You have to stabilize it first. When your merit power is completely stabilized, you can enter evil punishing land again and obtain more merit power. You have to know that merit power is not easy to come by, Lin Xianer said. I did gain a lot last time. My merit power increased by a lot. I'm now at the threshold of the Merit Great Sage. If I improve further, I'll be at the peak of the Merit Heavenly Monarch. However, the Merit Heavenly Monarch is actually just a transitional stage. It's not like cultivation and realms where there are bottlenecks. Maybe I'll be stuck at the peak of the Merit Heavenly Monarch, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, I only know about the body of merit from ancient records. I don't know the specifics. What's your situation now? Lin Xianer asked. What's the situation? I've always been using my own cultivation to fight. I don't want to use merit power to suppress others. If I use it, I can instantly suppress those below the Heavenly Monarch level. This is the power of my words. Night Sorrow explained his situation. Then why don't you use it? Lin Xianer asked. Everyone here is a cultivator. Cultivation is something that is painstakingly cultivated. Using our cultivation to kill our opponents is a fair way of doing things, said Yishan. You're mistaken. Did you pick up your body of merit? You obtained it by benefiting the world. It's accumulated step by step. The heavens gave you merit power for you to use so that you can do more things. It's not just for decoration. Lin Xianer corrected Night Sorrow's thoughts. And NB, genuine initials, #forward, I understand. If there's still no news after a while, I'll have to trouble Boss Song to ask. After helping Sister Shinner make a trip, I can fight with Donghao Mountain. Knight Sorrow heaved a sigh of relief. He wanted to solve the matter of Lin Shinner looking for Gui while his cultivation was increasing. And NB says here's the second update. Chapter 1683. Dong Haojua led his men to set up many strongholds and sealed off the Star Moon Lake. There were also patrols going back and forth between the strongholds. He did not want the Star Moon Lake to have any channels of entry and exit. Young Master, they have teleportation arrays that are connected to the outside. We can't seal them off, said Dong Haojua. The leader of the guards under Dong Haojua's command, Qing Mink, said. He was a demonic beast, Qing Mink. He was a shape-shifting demonic beast, so his name was Qing Mink. Don't worry, we're doing this to weaken his morale. I have already sent people to find out his whereabouts. We will destroy his morale first and then capture him. He will be doomed eternally, said Dong Haojua. Dong Haojua had a plan. If Qing Mink could think of it, so could he? He was forcing the Star Moon Lake to not develop for the time being so that Night Sorrow could not stabilize. This was because he and Night Sorrow were not in the same God-fiend castle region. If they were, he would have more ways to trick Night Sorrow. They were not in the same region. Although Dong Haojua was an elder of the God-fiend castle in the Dong Haojua region, he was not an elder with real power. The one in charge was Elder Chiao. He could only obtain some information but could not control it. Hence, he could not use the God-fiend castle to deal with Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow organized a batch of teleportation stones. It was important to move quickly in a war. If he wanted to fight with the Dong Haojua region, he had to be prepared before the war. On this day, Yishang was cultivating when he suddenly stopped. What's wrong? Asked Sikong Chiyu. She was cultivating with Night Sorrow. Haha, a senior is here. I don't need to receive him. I will be there soon, said Night Sorrow with a smile. At this moment, a few people walked out of the teleportation array. They were Shi Lai, Shi Yu, and Shi Tai. They were accompanied by Lord Yuandao. Night Sorrow knew when Shi Lai and the other two appeared in the teleportation array. Shi Lai was a one-star emperor, so he was not worried about being threatened. Besides, he trusted him very much. He let Shi Lai and the other two take the teleportation array to the Star Moon Lake. There was no need for Night Sorrow to receive them, as Lord Yuandao sent them over. Uncle Lai greeted Night Sorrow. Huh, Brat Yi, you're really something. Uncle Lai just broke through not long ago, and you're already ahead of him. Seeing Night Sorrow's cultivation base, Shilia was shocked. Every time they met, Night Sorrow would undergo a world-shaking transformation. Uncle Lai, you're exaggerating. I just broke through not too long ago. Night Sorrow introduced Shilia to his wife and daughter. However, Lin Shinner was not around, and she did not like such social interactions unless it was unavoidable. While chatting, Night Sorrow talked about his current situation in the Celestial Realm, but did not mention that he was besieged by Mount Donghao. Night Sorrow, father has just come out, so he doesn't know what's going on. However, I've stayed in the Primal Chaos Realm for a while. I've been to Star Moon City before, so I know what's going on at East How Mountain, Shitai said. It's nothing. It's just a temporary predicament, said Night Sorrow. Uncle Lai has just entered the 9th rank, so there's a limit to how much he can help you. Uncle Lai's avatar will stay in Star Moon City later. Star Moon City has a defensive array. If they want to break in, Uncle Lai will be able to fight back. In addition, Uncle Lai also sensed that there's an Emperor Realm expert in Star Moon City, said Shilia. Night Sorrow did not hide anything and told him about the metal spirit. However, he only gave a rough explanation. Defend it well first, then we'll consider fighting back. Shilia was also hot-tempered. Uncle Lai, is this appropriate? Night Sorrow asked. He did not want to implicate others. There's nothing inappropriate about it. Although the Ice Dragon Realm is made up of dragons, it's still part of the Primal Chaos Realm. You can do whatever you want, said Shilia. All right. With Uncle Lai in Star Moon City, I'll feel more at ease. Chiyu, 9th senior sister, entertain Uncle Lai for the next few days. As for the other two, Don't worry about them, said Night Sorrow to Sikong Chuyu and Yonglei. What are you talking about? Why don't we care? Chuyu curled her lips. Is there a problem with you guys taking care of yourselves? Do you still have to treat me as an outsider? Said Night Sorrow. That's right. There's no need to treat me as an outsider, said Shitai with a smile. After settling Shilia and the other two, the Divine Devil Castle token in Night Sorrow's sleeves vibrated. Knowing that it was a message from the Divine Devil Castle, Night Sorrow arrived at the Divine Devil Castle. It was to exchange for a token. Night Sorrow did not do many missions, but because the missions he did were more outstanding, coupled with his fierce increase in cultivation and great potential, his identity and status had increased a lot. The Divine Devil Castle had already recognized him as a protector. Missions? I haven't done any missions recently, said Night Sorrow. He still wanted to exchange for top-grade resources. Missions don't come often. Even if there are, they might not be suitable for you. However, if there is one suitable for you, I'll definitely look for you, said Lung Lai. Night Sorrow left a jar of wine for Elder Nalen and Lung Lai before leaving the Divine Devil Castle. Did you see that? The energy fluctuation on his body is extremely strong. It's a sign that his main body's energy cultivation is increasing rapidly. This Dong Hao is definitely trying to shoot himself in the foot, said Elder Nalen. What can we do? Everyone thinks that they can be arrogant. Can't you see it now? Whoever is arrogant will die. Your Lord Battle Emperor is currently supporting Moonstar Lake, said Lung Lai. Yes, there's nothing that Lord Battle Emperor doesn't know about in the Misty Dynasty. That's why he made these arrangements. Dong Hao is completely muddle-headed for wanting to take advantage of this loophole. Even if he wins, so what? If he doesn't give Lord Battle Emperor face, the next time Dong Hao Mountain and the Misty Dynasty have a conflict, even if it's a small one, Lord Battle Emperor will kill him, said Elder Nalen. Huh. Yes. No matter how magnanimous Lord Battle Emperor is, he can't forget that she's a woman. If he doesn't give Lord Battle Emperor face, the consequences will be severe, laughed Lung Lai. In order to make Night Sorrow feel more at ease, Lin Xian asked Song Ning to tell Night Sorrow that the next time they enter Evil Punisher Land was set. It was set to be 3 years later. Lin Xianer had decided on 3 years because she felt that Yi Shang would be able to completely stabilize the power of virtue in his body. In addition, if she gave Yi Shang an accurate amount of time, Yi Shang would not be anxious about his own matters. After knowing the accurate time, Night Sorrow met Lin Xian and told her about it. 3 years. They really care about us. You have to know that the opening of Evil Punisher Land lasts for millions of years. I thought that it would be good if they could arrange it within 100 years, said Lin Xian with a smile. As long as Sister Xian can accept it. Night Sorrow put the matter aside after hearing Lin Xian's words. He was worried that Lin Xian would be anxious. See chapter YP, and on verse 4, because the Misty Battle Emperor was taking great care of Star Moon Lake. Night Sorrow didn't want to do anything without a reason. Moreover, it wasn't as if the Misty Battle Emperor didn't agree. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. The energy fluctuations on Night Sorrow's body were not obvious because his energy cultivation base was very close to his realm. He wasn't far from saturation. When the cultivation base of his main body was about to end, Night Sorrow started to take action. First, he sent out the doppelgangers of the god slaying team to scout for information. He wanted a map of Dong Hao Mountain strength, and the important thing was the marking of the cities. Since they were going to fight, Night Sorrow wanted to make Dong Hao Mountain unable to withstand it. Chapter 1684. Everyone in the Star Moon Mountain Villa knew that Night Sorrow was about to make a move. Lin Xian also went to look for Night Sorrow to ask if he needed her help. Thank you, Sister Xian. This is a matter of the chaotic realm, so I won't drag you down with me, Night Sorrow said. This time, he did not intend to ask anyone for help. If you need anything, just let me know. Lin Xian expressed her attitude. Sister Xian, between you and Old Song, who is close to the ethereal battle emperor? Night Sorrow asked. More or less, but I don't contact him much. What's the matter? Lin Xian paused for a moment before saying, This time, I plan to give the East Hao Mountain a big blow. The East Hao Mountain does not dare to attack the Star Moon Lake because I have the Ethereal Dynasty's power. I have to greet the Battle Emperor. This is a favor that I, Night Sorrow, owe him, Night Sorrow said. Actually, it's not that. The Ethereal Battle Emperor should have thought of this long ago and made preparations, Lin Xianer said. There are some things that need to be explained, Yishan said. Then I'll go greet him. Lin Xianer nodded. She admired Night Sorrow the most. He was responsible for everything he did. The members of the God-slaying team sent back news that Night Sorrow was drawing the layout of the East Hao Mountain. At the same time, Night Sorrow's original body had returned. If they were going to fight, they would go all out. When all the news was sent back, Night Sorrow drew a map of the East Hao Mountain. White areas were unimportant areas, red areas were areas that could not be attacked, and green areas were areas that Night Sorrow wanted to attack this time. Everyone, stay at Star Moon Mountain Villa and wait for orders. Yishan instructed the God-slaying squad, Xia Cheng, and the others before leaving. After Night Sorrow left, Song Ning and Wu Feng arrived at the Star Moon Mountain Villa. Both of them looked worried. The East Haze Mountain is nothing to the Misty Dynasty. However, to the Star Moon Lake, it is an unshakable behemoth, Song Ning said in a worried tone. Don't worry. Our captain is good at fighting the strong as the weak. In the past, there were many opponents who were stronger than us, but our captain can still take them down, Yin Huang said. He had full confidence in Night Sorrow. Yin Huang wasn't the only one who was confident in Night Sorrow. The other members of the God-slaying squad were the same. They were all in high spirits, waiting for their orders. Song Ning glanced at the members of the God-slaying team, but did not say anything. Since Night Sorrow wanted to fight, she could not discourage him. At this time, Night Sorrow's true body and avatar had already separated. They had both arrived at the Eastern Sky Mountain region and were setting up a teleportation array. He had been preparing for this battle for more than half a year and had prepared many teleportation stones. This time, he was going to pay a great price to set up a teleportation array net so that he could attack the target city at any time. Since they were going to fight, Night Sorrow planned to cripple the East Haze Mountain. He wanted to deal a heavy blow to the East Haze Mountain and make them pay the price. He had a grudge with the East Haze Mountain because of the God Fiend Castle's mission. If the East Haze Mountain wanted to kill him, then according to the God Fiend Castle's rules, it was up to the East Haze Mountain if they could kill him. If the grudge was involved in a battle between factions, then they would not be able to afford it. The Eastern Sky region was very large, but Night Sorrow had a lot of choices when setting up the teleportation array. The areas that Night Sorrow set up the teleportation array were all cities that he had marked on the map. They were all cities that could be attacked and had resources. They were all cities that the East Haze Mountain could not teleport to immediately. His true body and avatar were setting up the array at the same time. In addition, Night Sorrow was now at the Emperor level. Although his array formation cultivation had not reached the Emperor level, his speed was much faster. Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array hidden in an illusion array outside the target city. In a month's time, Night Sorrow finished setting up the teleportation array network. He used up nearly 200 teleportation stones, which he had accumulated and purchased during this time. After everything was set up, Night Sorrow returned to the Star Moon Mountain Villa in the ethereal Imperial City. He then gathered the 3 people from Summer City and the members of the God-slaying team. He also called Ghost Monkey into the team. Dachira also wanted to go. Night Sorrow thought about it and agreed. However, he only asked Dachira's avatar to go. He himself would stay in the Night Moon Mountain Villa. After gathering everyone, Night Sorrow set off with his men. Lin Xian, and Song Ning were still drinking tea. Song Ning did not know what Lin Xian thought of this matter, but she felt that it was very dangerous. Everyone's path is different. This is his path. Your avatar will hide in the Star Moon City. If the East Haze Mountain makes any moves, you will stop them in time. If something happens to the Star Moon City, Even if we destroy the East Haze Mountain, we will lose face, Lin Xianer said. Okay, don't worry, Mississippi. We'll set off now. Song Ming nodded. She was staying here with her true body. Her avatar was on the blood battle platform. After hearing Lin Xian's order, her avatar had already set off. After teleporting once, Night Sorrow kept everyone in the clear sky pagoda and teleported himself. Night Sorrow teleported himself many times. He arrived at the teleportation array outside the target city. He then entered the clear sky pagoda. The Clear County city is outside. It is one of the 3 revolving cities of the East Haze Mountain. I will enter the city to scout before attacking. Although you guys found that there are no Emperor Realm cultivators, safety is the most important thing, Night Sorrow said to the group. We are ready. Yin Huang and the others nodded. Remember one thing. Do not resist my soul power. We will kill and retreat as we wish. After that, we will clear the next city, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow went through the main points of the battle. Actually, it was the same as before. They had to be flexible and end the battle quickly. They must not linger. After making the necessary arrangements, Yishang exited the clear sky pagoda and rushed towards the city. There were guards at the city gates, so Yishang didn't use the city gates. His soul force probed an empty spot on the city walls, and he easily entered the city. After entering the city, Night Sorrow began his scouting operation. In fact, he was not afraid. As long as the East Haze Mountain Lord and Dong Haze Mountain were there, he would not be afraid even if there were Emperor Realm cultivators. He was cautious to prevent his subordinates from getting hurt. In addition, Night Sorrow could not afford to make a mistake. This time, Night Sorrow wanted to accumulate some resources for the Star Moon Lake while attacking the East Haze Mountain. Dong Haze Mountain was planning to seal off the resources of the Star Moon Lake. Night Sorrow was planning to rob the resources of the East Haze Mountain. After scouting around and confirming that there was nothing out of the ordinary, Night Sorrow separated from his clone. His clone went to the teleportation array and destroyed the seal, while his main body went to the City Lord's mansion. Before arriving at the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow called everyone out. We have not robbed in a long time. One team from the God-slaying team will stay behind. The rest of you will attack in 2 teams. A Luo and Ghost Monkey will lead 1 team each. If anything happens, report back immediately. Rob and burn all the properties belonging to the City Lord's mansion. This time, we will engage in an extermination battle. In other words, we will not rest until the East Haze Mountain is dead. 9 First Team. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the members of the God-slaying team were stunned. In the past, Night Sorrow only wanted to win the battle. This time, however, it did not seem to be the case. Chapter 1685. Night Sorrow had no plans to expand his territory. The current Chaos Realm was not suitable for that kind of development because the talents could not keep up. In the Celestial Realm, those who were not Heaven Monarchs could not do anything. There were only a few Heaven Monarchs in the Chaos Realm. If he took over the territory and gave it to the Ethereal Empire, it would be returning the favor of protecting them. This was also based on his principles. Night Sorrow did not want to be inferior to others when talking to them. If he owed them, he could not be righteous. Night Sorrow's clone arrived at the teleportation array. He did not even use his domain. He used the void steps and killed the guards of the teleportation array in a few flashes. He destroyed the teleportation array with 1 shot. Night Sorrow saw that the main body of the teleportation array was not small, so he dismantled it and put it away. Night Sorrow's main body, Long Jin, Yin Huang, and Liang Yu led a team of members of the God-slaying team, as well as the 3 from Summer City. They waited for the people from the City Lore Mansion to come out. Night Sorrow's space-time domain burst forth and enveloped the few Heaven Monarchs who rushed out. He used the destructive True Dragon art and froze them. Then, he killed them with a few simple shots. Charge in and take out everything inside. Kill anyone who tries to stop you, then set them on fire. Knight Sorrow's body flickered as he entered the City Lord's mansion. There was a teleportation array within the City Lord's mansion. The teleportation array in the City Lord mansion might be connected to various places in the city. Because the city was big, it took time to get to each place. It was much more convenient with the teleportation array. There was also the possibility that it was connected to other cities. Knight Sorrow wanted to destroy it immediately. As for the team led by Dachira and Ghost Monkey, Knight Sorrow was not worried. Dachira was a pseudo-emperor. Those below the Arch Realm could not pose a threat to him. Ghost Monkey was also a powerful Heaven Monarch. He was ranked in the top of the Heaven Monarchs in the Guan Yu Mansion. After destroying the City Lord's mansion and destroying the teleportation formation, Knight Sorrow did not continue to kill. As an emperor, killing King and Holy King did not give him much of a sense of accomplishment. After an hour of fighting, the two groups of people gathered at the City Lord's mansion. Dachira handed a storage ring to Knight Sorrow. This was the resource that her team had gathered. As for the other team, Qingjin had handed over their resources to Ghost Monkey. Ghost Monkey did not care about the resources. He knew that in Knight Sorrow's heart, the God-slaying squad was his true confidant, so he did not touch any of their resources. Don't resist. We're going to the next stop. Knight Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear in his right hand and carved the word Knight on one of the broken walls of the City Lord's mansion. Then he put everyone into the clear sky pagoda. After combining with his clone, he activated the teleportation formation disc and went to the teleportation formation outside the city. After taking the teleportation formation to the next target city, Knight Sorrow disconnected the teleportation formation that he had used and took the teleportation crystal. In the past, when he started a war in the Primal Chaos realm, Knight Sorrow would use the Spirit Explosion Array to destroy the teleportation formation every time he retreated. However, he could not do that now. In the Primal Chaos realm, the teleportation formation's teleportation distance was not large. It would be completed in a short moment. The Spirit Explosion Array had a slow time to explode, so it did not affect the teleportation. However, it was not possible in the Celestial realm. The teleportation formation in the Celestial realm had a very large teleportation distance. One teleportation would take 15 minutes or even longer. This was also the reason why Lin Xian had taken more than half a day to go to the Heaven's Vault tribe. If the teleportation formation was destroyed during this time, then the person being teleported would be stuck in the void. Those who were strong could break through the void and return to the real world. Those who were weak would be killed by the spatial turbulence. Disconnecting the teleportation formation was also temporary. Knight Sorrow had a plan. Now that he was here, disconnecting the teleportation formation was equivalent to cutting off the tail of the enemy's pursuit. The teleportation crystals in his hand all had serial numbers. In the future, if he wanted to teleport, he could just insert the teleportation crystal and split it. Of course, if the enemy found a diviner to divine, the teleportation formation would be destroyed. Knight Sorrow had set up more than 200 teleportation formations. How much ability did the enemy's diviner have to divine? When teleporting, time and space would change. This would consume a lot of the diviner's energy. After swapping the teleportation crystal on the teleportation formation disc for Knight Sorrow, he carried the clear sky pagoda and entered the target city. After investigating one round and finding no abnormalities, the original body and clone separated. The clone went to the teleportation formation while the original body went to the City Lord's residence. After releasing the people, the original body went to the City Lord's residence and started killing again. How could a city without Emperor Realm cultivators withstand Knight Sorrow's attacks? Knight Sorrow's original body and clone were equivalent to two emperors. Heaven Monarchs and Half-Step Emperors were all killed in an instant. After robbing, he set fire to the City Lord's residence. Knight Sorrow took out a map and made a mark on the city. Then he put the people into the clear sky pagoda and went out of the city to teleport to the next target. And NB? Front page. First post after reaching the third target city. Night Sorrow disconnected the teleportation formation and killed his way to the city lord's residence. Then, he released the people. A few people came out of the city lord's residence. The leader was a half-step emperor. "Who are you?" the half-step emperor asked. He didn't understand why someone would attack for no reason. "This is a clone. I won't ask where your original body is. If you don't want your original body to die, you need to hide well." Night Sorrow said. "What?" The half-step emperor looked at Night Sorrow and asked. After knowing Night Sorrow's cultivation and determination, he didn't run because he couldn't. "My name is Night Sorrow. I come from Star Moon Lake. You will know the reason when you go back and ask Dong Hao Jua. He wants to fight with me, so I accept. Now let the battle begin." After speaking, Night Sorrow's space-time domain burst forth. Destructive True Dragon Art and Void Extreme Kill took away the half-step emperor. Naturally, the battle that followed went smoothly. An hour later, everyone gathered in front of the city lord's residence. "Not bad. Today's target is 10 cities. Night Sorrow said. "Your Highness, it's so comfortable to kill them like this. So what if it's an Imperial Emperor's force? If we want to kill, we can kill." Shang Wanhong's face was full of excitement. Annihilating an entire city in an hour was indeed fast. As night fell, Night Sorrow led his people to attack another city, which was the 10th city. After that, they teleported to their next target. After exiting the teleportation array, Night Sorrow removed the teleportation crystal that was connected to the previous teleportation array. Without stopping, he teleported back to his target city's teleportation array. The instant he finished teleporting, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda. He then smashed the Clear Sky Pagoda to the ground, hiding it. Night Sorrow did this to avoid being divined by diviners. The teleportation array was surrounded by an illusion array. After divining, the diviners couldn't see the surroundings and couldn't determine the location. "Night Sorrow, what's the situation?" Dechira asked. "We just finished dealing with the aftermath. Everyone, rest and recover. This is a space with 5 times acceleration. One night is enough for everyone to recover. After recovering, we will continue tomorrow." Night Sorrow said. "Haha, sweeping 10 cities. This will definitely stun Dong Haoshan. The news has probably spread. They must be in chaos. Our Star Moon Lake is famous." Summer City said with a big laugh. And NB says here's the first update. Chapter 1686. In the ethereal Imperial City, Night Moon Villa, Lin Xianair, Song Ning, and Dechira's original body were drinking tea. Dechira told them about the results of today's battle. In fact, Lin Xianair's original body in the City Lord's residence had already received the news. In the Celestial Realm, the law of the jungle was the law of the jungle. But everyone was very cautious and would not easily start conflict with others. There were not many battles between forces. Even if there were battles, it was the strong who fought the weak. Today, Star Moon Lake, which was not on the same level as Dong Hao Mountain, took the initiative to attack and destroy Dong Hao Mountain. This was beyond everyone's expectations and had overturned everyone's view of war. Be careful to hide your tracks. The other party has a divination master. If the divination master finds out where you're resting, it'll be troublesome, Lin Xianer said. She wanted to use Devil's Snare to warn Yishang. Night Sorrow has thought about this before, but I don't know how he implemented it. The battle strategy was arranged by him, and we executed it under his leadership, Dechira said. Sister Xianer, Dong Hao Mountain is going to go crazy this time, right? The cities that Night Sorrow and the others destroyed were all well-developed and resource-rich cities. Many heavenly monarchs were also killed, Song Ning said. If Dong Hao Yunjie cannot find Night Sorrow's tracks and predict Night Sorrow's target, Dong Hao Mountain will lose this battle. This battle will also become a classic battle in the Celestial Realm, Lin Xianer said. Dong Hao Yunjie was the leader of Dong Hao Mountain. When we fought in the past, we directly pushed forward with people and horses. Everyone fought head-on. It was too crude. Even if there were sneak attacks, no one would play it so cleverly, Song Ning said. Normally, In a war between factions, it's a competition of strength. Whoever is weaker will be crushed. Once their base is attacked, they'll be destroyed. Knight Soro's battle strategy can't be used by others. The point of view is that you have to be Wuyo or have no base to use it, Lin Xian'er said. She had seen things very clearly. So Knight Soro is very grateful to Misty Dynasty for protecting Star Moon Lake. After the battle, he should give Misty Dynasty an explanation, Dachira said. She knew her husband very well. Explanation? What explanation do you need? Protect Star Moon Lake. Isn't that what War Emperor said? Songning said. I haven't been married for a long time, Dachira said, but I know him very well. His principles can't be changed. He doesn't owe anyone, and he doesn't let himself lower his personality. I'm not sure I know what he's thinking. Thought I is. What a tiring life, Songning muttered. But he lives with pride. No matter who he meets, he can speak with a straight back. He doesn't need to lower his posture. Luo, tell him to be careful, Lin Xian'er said. At this moment, the meeting hall of Donghao Mountain was filled with people. Donghao Yunjia sat in the main seat. Below him sat Donghao Ju and the elders of Donghao Mountain. There was also a divination master sitting cross-legged in the hall. Donghao Yunjia was very angry. An emperor dared to attack Donghao Mountain. This was a slap in the face of Donghao monarch. The divination master began from the body of the last city lord to be killed. At first, the scene was normal. However, after Knight Soro was teleported, it was gray because there was an illusion array blocking the outside environment. In the end, the divination master saw Knight Soro enter the spatial treasure and smash it into the ground. Mountain Lord, he must have purposely avoided being exposed. He must have thought about how to avoid being detected by divination. The pale-faced divination master bowed to Donghao Yunjia. Donghao Yunjia, who was sitting in the main seat, had a sharp face and an aquiline nose. His face was ashen because he couldn't find Knight Soro's trace. He couldn't defend himself. Damn it! When we catch him, we'll make him beg for death. Donghao Ju was even angrier. Many people in the hall looked at him because this was caused by him leading people to surround Moonstar Lake. Watch it for free forever. The problem now is how to stop him from attacking our cities. 10 cities have been breached in one day, and we've lost tens of millions of Saint Spirit Stones and countless resources. The cost of restoring our cities to normal is too great. If we can't catch him, we'll suffer more losses, said Donghao Yunjia. Mount Donghao was an old faction that had been developing for many years and had never been attacked. As such, the resources given to the city guards for their daily expenses and rewards were all stored there. There were millions of Saint Spirit Stones, and the city lord's residents store these resources because the city needed to be developed and constructed. Father, tomorrow my original body and clone will go out and patrol the cities. Once we catch him, we can solve the problem and avenge my brother, said Donghao Ju. All right, tomorrow my main body and doppelganger will move out as well. Great Elder, Second Elder, you guys do the same. However, if you encounter him, the first thing you need to do is restrain him. According to the reports from our subordinates, he is not weak. Donghao Yunjia made the arrangements. Donghao Mountain had 4 Monarch Realm cultivators. Donghao Yunjia and Donghao Ju were monarchs, while the Great Elder and Second Elder were 1-star monarchs. The path to becoming a monarch was very difficult. If you didn't break through to the Monarch Realm, it would be a smooth journey. It was very difficult to grasp the power of heaven and earth. Knight Soro was drinking wine in the Hao Tian Pagoda. He didn't use much energy in the battles during the day. His opponents were all killed instantly. They couldn't resist. However, he knew that there would be danger starting tomorrow. His opponents could only think of 2 ways. One was to attack Star Moon Lake, and the other was to patrol and wait for him. Knight Soro felt that Donghao Mountain wouldn't dare to attack Star Moon Lake because they would have to face the wrath of the Misty Dynasty. Donghao Mountain was a giant in front of Star Moon Lake, but it was a grasshopper in front of the Misty Dynasty. Even if Donghao Mountain didn't dare to attack Starmoon Lake, Night Sorrow still made the arrangements. Starmoon Lake's defensive array was fully activated. Jinling, Ice Dragon, and Shilia were in charge of the array. If the opponent attacked, they would resist first and everyone would retreat. Currently, in Starmoon City, other than the essential personnel, everyone had retreated. Some retreated to the Primal Chaos Domain to wait. Some retreated to the Misty Dynasty's former Night Mansion, which was now called Starmoon Lake. Those guarding Starmoon City were the core personnel. If there was a battle, they could retreat immediately. The defensive issue had been arranged. Night Sorrow was thinking about how to not be trapped by the opponent. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid. Donghao Mountain had 2 Imperial Emperors, but if he wanted to run, he had a huge advantage. He could enter chaotic space to run. This was the space-time domain's forte. In chaotic space, the space-time domain's power would be maximized. Other attributes wouldn't be able to do so. One night passed in the real world. Night Sorrow gathered everyone. The difficulty of today's battle will be increased because the opponent might have defenses. Remember, don't fight too long. Today, the 3 teams can't leave my area of 5,000 kilometers. Once the area within 5,000 kilometers of the City Lord's mansion is cleared, we'll go to the next city, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, let me add something. Some cities have god-fiend castles and strongholds. You must avoid them, Dechira said. Said Night Sorrow. The second part of the update. Chapter 1687. Damn, I forgot to remind you about this. Brothers, don't touch the God Devil Castle. You must avoid it. We can't afford to offend it. Don't die without even knowing how you died. Night Sorrow slapped his forehead. Everyone nodded. Actually, everyone knew about the God Devil Castle after being in the Celestial Realm for a while. After giving out instructions, Night Sorrow left the Clear Sky Pagoda and entered the city. After entering the city, Night Sorrow activated the 9-region origin pearl and used his soul power to scan the area. Yishan was very confident. His soul power's probing strength was definitely at the Imperial Emperor level. First of all, his Divine Sea was different from ordinary people. His Divine Sea was 1/3 larger than other cultivators. After advancing to the Great Emperor Realm, Yishang had refined the flame of life and cultivated his soul power to saturation. He was definitely one of the best in the Great Emperor Realm. With the help of the 9-domain origin bead, his probing strength was at the Imperial Emperor level. When he arrived near the City Lord's residence, he scanned the area with his soul power. He didn't find any Emperor Realm cultivators. Night Sorrow's clone appeared and went to the teleportation array. His main body moved the people in the Clear Sky Pagoda out and started killing. Everything went smoothly. After looting the target city, Night Sorrow led his people to the next city. After entering the city, Night Sorrow found an Emperor Realm cultivator. It was someone he knew. It was the great elder of the East Hao Mountain, Xian's father. Their clan was special. They didn't have a surname. Their names were all one word. He wore a black robe, and his eyes were completely white. After patrolling the area, he had been squatting in the pit. Recently, he had been very angry. His son had been killed, and East Hao Mountain had been slapped in the face. He needed to vent his anger on a killing spree. He was very confident. He was a peak 1-star Emperor Realm cultivator. According to the information he found, Night Sorrow had just entered the Emperor Realm half a year ago. He was thinking about whether he could meet Night Sorrow, not whether he could kill him. Night Sorrow also planned to make his move. If there was a big fish that he could kill, then he would naturally kill it. Only by killing the big fish would he be able to deal a heavy blow to Mount Donghao. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow decided not to let his men out. Only by dealing with this would the danger alert be lifted. He could not risk the lives of the people around him. Strategy are due to the difference in the strength of their soul powers. Yishang's soul powers had yet to discover any traces of Yishang. The main body and avatar separated. Night Sorrow's avatar went to the City Lord's mansion to destroy the teleportation array to prevent reinforcements. His original body wielded the reincarnation spear and executed the Void Extreme Point kill. He broke open the space barrier and controlled the clear sky pagoda to enter the turbulent flow of the void. Then, he reappeared and executed the space-time domain to protect himself. Then, he approached the teleportation array. Because he was near the teleportation array, he waited for news near the teleportation array. Once there was news, he could quickly teleport. Night Sorrow moved stealthily in the turbulent flow of the void and approached the teleportation array. The avatar in front of the teleportation array was a little flustered and upset. He did not understand what was going on, but he knew that it was not without reason. As an Emperor Realm cultivator, this situation was a warning sign. Just as he was frowning and thinking, Night Sorrow appeared. The Void Extreme Point kill broke open the space barrier and entered the real world through the clear sky pagoda. Night Sorrow's space-time domain erupted and suppressed Yi. Then, the reincarnation spear executed the destructive True Dragon art. As the space-time attribute entered the Emperor Realm and the destructive will enter the Monarch Realm, Night Sorrow's strongest technique was no longer the Great Emperor Reincarnation Slash, but the destructive True Dragon art. A black halo enveloped Yi. The reincarnation spear carried a soul-shaking aura and attacked Yi. While the reincarnation spear in his right hand attacked, Night Sorrow's left hand blasted a punch at the teleportation array. The teleportation array collapsed and cut off Yi's escape route. Yi was shocked by the sudden attack. He did not understand why his opponent suddenly appeared. However, he reacted quickly. The green domain on his body erupted and resisted Night Sorrow's domain. However, he was still enveloped by the halo of the destructive True Dragon art. Yi only managed to place his battle saber in front of his forehead. At the same time, his head flashed with light to resist the influence of the destructive True Dragon art. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear pressed down by 1 foot and attacked Yi's chest. As Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear pierced through, a red armor appeared on Yi's body. The old emperor had a deep foundation. He had a protective armor of a higher level. Following a muffled sound, Yi was sent flying by Night Sorrow's spear and vomited blood. The chest area of his armor was shattered. This was Night Sorrow's normal attack after executing the destructive True Dragon art. However, it still injured Yi. It's you. You're the one who killed my son. You'll die. Yi retreated quickly and crushed a communication crystal at the same time. After this collision, Yi understood Night Sorrow's strength. At the same time, he also recognized Night Sorrow's aura. I don't know if I'll die or not, but you'll definitely die first. Night Sorrow waved his left hand and released everyone from the clear sky pagoda. The original plan was to attack and then quickly gather in front of the City Lord residence. After injuring Yi, Night Sorrow knew that he could completely suppress Yi and that his subordinates would not be in danger. Therefore, he released the God-slaying team. Although they wanted to watch Night Sorrow's great battle, the members of the God-slaying team had a habit of carrying out orders first. After releasing the members of the God-slaying team, Night Sorrow used the Void Steps and arrived in front of Yi. Then, he executed the destructive True Dragon art. A black halo appeared and shrouded Yi's body. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear vibrated again. The energy transformed into the Void Extreme Kill and slashed towards Yi's head. In Donghao City, Yi was extremely anxious. He notified Donghao Yunjie and Donghao Ju. The two of them dared to come, but they didn't dare to move. Yi Shiwen's original body was being suppressed and attacked. If his clone went, it would be more dangerous. If his original body died, his clone would still be alive. If his clone went and still couldn't defeat his opponent, he would be completely annihilated and disappear from the world. Night Sorrow's Void Extreme Kill was extremely fast under the support of the space-time domain. It pierced through the void and arrived in front of Yi's head. However, Yi's soul power was still quite strong. He blocked a part of the destructive True Dragon art's influence and blocked the battle saber in front of his head. You can't block it. Since we met today, you deserve to die. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear pressed down again and attacked Yi Shiwen's chest, which had already been damaged. In the past life and death battles, Night Sorrow would attack his opponent's spirit sea. He would break through whatever obstacles there were. However, he didn't need to do that now because his original body had appeared. The reincarnation spear had the power of reincarnation that could injure the soul. It would be enough as long as he could kill his opponent's body. Yishuan sensed that Knight Soro's weapon had changed direction. He stretched out his left hand to block his chest and push forward. Even if he was injured, he had to block Knight Soro's killing move. While he was defending, his white eyes emitted light and shot towards Knight Soro. Soul attack. This was Yishuan's talent. It was also the uniqueness of his white eyes. At this moment, Knight Soro's head emitted a golden light. The light was vast and majestic, and it was filled with a righteous aura. Knight Soro had activated his light of virtue to defend his spirit sea. Chapter 1688. Dumbstruck. After Zay's chest was pierced by Knight Soro's reincarnation spear, he stopped moving. The meridians near his chest were all broken, and his spirit sea was attacked by a stream of energy that entered his body. Knight Soro swung his left fist and hit Zay's head. Shock force. Knight Soro's fist that was filled with shock force didn't shatter Zay's head, but the shock force entered his spirit sea and shattered it. Die. In just a few rounds, Knight Soro killed the Dong Hao Mountain's Great Elder. Latest M chapter equals Part 1 $. Subsequently, Knight Soro controlled the space-time domain and shook it violently. The space-time power intertwined and destroyed Zay's scattered soul force. This way, Zay's clone wouldn't have the chance to collect the remaining soul force in the soul box. After taking a look at Zay's corpse, Knight Soro kept it in a storage ring. After keeping the main body of the teleportation crystal that fell from the teleportation array, Knight Soro flew towards the city Lord's mansion. When Knight Soro arrived, the massacre was still in progress. His clone had also merged with his original body. After his clone killed the Heaven Monarch, he didn't make any more moves. A moment later, the two groups of people returned, and the massacre was over. Knight Soro used the Clear Sky Pagoda to keep everyone and activated the teleportation array disk. After arriving at the teleportation array outside the city, he teleported to the next destination. When Dong Hao Yunjie and Dong Hao Ju saw Zay, their faces turned ashen. This great one's original body has fallen. It was killed by him. Let's quickly go and eliminate him. Dong Hao Ju's eyes were filled with ominous light. It wasn't easy to see Knight Soro's shadow. Zay didn't say anything. He knew that he didn't have any chance. The teleportation array was destroyed, and it would be difficult to arrive before Knight Soro left. Knight Soro had calculated all of this, but he didn't say anything because he wanted to take revenge. Right before the last teleportation, the teleportation formation was broken. Dong Hao Yunjie, Dong Hao Ju, and Dong Hao Yunjie teleported to the nearest city before flying away. This made them realize that there was no chance of catching Knight Soro. However, Knight Soro had no intention of stopping. This was his first battle in the Celestial Realm from the Primal Chaos Realm. He wanted to make a name for himself by tormenting Dong Hao Mountain so that no one would dare to have designs on Starmoon Lake. When he received news that more cities had been destroyed, Dong Hao Yunjie was furious. They were flying and could not chase after him even if they wanted to. They could only endure Knight Soro's attacks. A day passed. Knight Soro brought his men and went into hiding again. The result was that they broke through 10 cities and killed an emperor. Dong Hao Mountain was on the defensive. Great Elder's true body was killed, and his clone was seriously injured, already unable to fight. In view of Knight Soro's battle prowess, the second elder of Dong Hao Mountain did not dare to separate from his clone. This made the area where they could hide even smaller. It was useless for Dong Hao Yunjie to find a fortune teller because the fortune teller could only see the battle scene. Knight Soro's teleportation formation could not be found anywhere. After Knight Soro's battle, he used a teleportation formation disk to leave. The teleportation formation he stopped at was surrounded by an illusion formation. It was impossible to use the environment to determine his location. The inter-realm teleportation formation also had a long teleportation distance. They were on the defensive. 2 days passed. 20 cities were destroyed, and the Emperor Realm Great Elder's true body was destroyed. Donghao Mountain had no way to deal with this. This shocked the Celestial Realm, because Star Moon Lake was too powerful. No one could have imagined that they would be able to fight to this extent. Song Ning's true body was reporting the situation to the Ethereal Battle Emperor in the City Lord's mansion. The other elders and mansion lords were also present. Lord Battle Emperor, although Star Moon Lake used our protection to fight, such a result is also a display of our Ethereal Dynasty's prestige. The people of Donghao region hope that we will withdraw our protection for Star Moon Lake. This should not be considered, Luo Yuandao said. Because there was no target to attack, Donghao Yunjia's clone took charge of the situation while his true body went to the Ethereal Dynasty. He hoped that the Ethereal Dynasty would withdraw their protection for Star Moon Lake and give Donghao Mountain a fair chance. Lin Piaomiao did not say anything. She looked at Elder Lawn. Since when can Donghao Mountain influence the Ethereal Dynasty's decision? Was there a need for them to tell them who to protect and who not to protect? They besieged Star Moon Lake. Why don't they think that Star Moon Lake is under our protection? Elder Lawn stood up and said when he saw Lin Piaomiao's eyes, Elder Lawn, you and Elder Luo will handle this matter. Make your attitude clear and tell them not to have any ideas about Star Moon Lake. Otherwise, the consequences will be even more severe than now. Besides, no one can deny Star Moon Lake's battle achievements. Without our protection, they can give up Star Moon Lake and continue fighting. Who will suffer more losses? Lin Piaomiao stood up. Her figure flickered and dissipated. What came here was an energy clone. Mansion Lord Wufeng, your brother is powerful. Han Jinhua looked at Wufeng and said, my brother doesn't cause trouble, but if anyone provokes him, the consequences will be severe. Wufeng smiled. He can't stand being looked down upon and bullied. He will deal with whoever bullies him. He doesn't care who the opponent is. So what if Yuanji? So what if Donghao Mountain's Grand Elder is? They are all living examples. Song Ning said, Star Moon Lake is now related to our reputation. Someone must watch it in secret. Who will go? If no one, I will go. Elder Lon said, I will go with my clone. I, Luo Yuandao, don't have many friends. This matter has to be handled from an official point of view. From a personal point of view, I also have to take care of it. Luo Yuandao expressed his attitude. Elder Luo, this is rare, but there is no need. My clone is already outside Star Moon City. Songning nodded at Luo Yuandao. At this moment, she approved of Luo Yuandao. Then there is no danger. Let's talk. How far will this brat go? Lin Qixing looked like he was watching a show. Of course. He is good at scraping the ground. Gong Yufan and Mansion Lord Yang have already experienced it. Yuan Ji was even worse. Han Jinhua glanced at Yang Tianlai. Sir Battle Emperor is not going to pursue this matter. Can you not slap his face? Yang Tianlai was embarrassed. I don't think so. Wufeng said, Mansion Lord Wufeng, tell us your opinion. Luo Yuandao nodded. If Yishang has a conflict with anyone in the Ethereal Imperial City, he will consider the Ethereal Imperial Dynasty's reputation and still have some sentiments. However, Easthao Mountain doesn't have this problem. So, the end result will be very tragic. If Night Sorrow is not captured and killed, then Easthao Mountain will be completely destroyed. Perhaps, only 2 Imperial Emperors will be left that Night Sorrow can't kill. Wufeng expressed his opinion. Yes, this guy can't tolerate sand in his eyes. After this conflict, Donghao Mountain's strength will drop infinitely. At the very least, it will be reduced. Elder Law nodded. He agreed with Wufeng's words because he also understood Yi Sorrow. 20 cities under 2 skies. An Imperial Emperor's main body has fallen. This is a domineering battle record. He is acting like an Imperial Emperor. But I have to admit, he is really domineering. Lin Qixing said, he is my friend, an overlord recognized by Sir Battle Emperor. How can he not be domineering? Song Ning felt very proud. Chapter 1689. You can ask the owner of the Twilight Tea House. I'm just a tea drinker. Yes, a VIP tea drinker. Song Ning took out a VIP card and waved it around. The owner of the Twilight Tea House said that they don't give out VIP cards. If they did, would I still need to ask you? It's too embarrassing to bring my old mother to drink tea without a seat, Lin Qixing said with some hesitation. Is that so? For the sake of Auntie, I'll point you in the right direction. Who's the boss of the Star Moon Lake? Isn't it just Knight's Sorrow? Can't you solve it by asking him? You're usually very smart, but you're always muddle-headed. Song Ning reprimanded Lin Qixing. Lin Qixing was famous for being a filial son in the Ethereal Dynasty. Because of this, he had a good reputation even though he was a stingy cheapskate. Many thanks. Lin Qixing cupped his fists towards Song Ning. After receiving the Ethereal Empire's reply and warning, Donghao Yunjie returned to the Donghao Mountain. Actually, he had expected this answer, but he didn't expect to receive a warning that he couldn't touch the Star Moon Lake. After returning to the Donghao Mountain, Donghao Yunjie asked Donghao Ju to withdraw the troops besieging the Star Moon Lake because this was the trigger. Donghao Yunjie felt that Night Sorrow would stop attacking if the troops besieging the Star Moon Lake were to withdraw. Withdrawing the troops besieging the Star Moon Lake meant that they had compromised and lost. Donghao Ju felt humiliated, but he had no way to stop Night Sorrow's attack at the moment. Donghao Mountain's troops besieging the Star Moon Lake were to withdraw, which caused an uproar. A new small faction with only one city was able to force the Donghao Mountain, which had two monarchs, to compromise. This was definitely unprecedented. The Donghao Mountain's Grand Elder's original body was killed by the Star Moon, Lord Night Sorrow, which established Night Sorrow's position as the monarch of strength. Just when everyone thought that the Star Moon warriors would retreat, Night Sorrow led his men to start another massacre. In a single day, they took down another 10 cities. When the news spread, everyone was shocked. Some people thought that Star Moon Lake was pushing their luck, and that they would suffer if they were captured by Mount Donghao's main force. Some people thought that this was just courage, and that Mount Donghao couldn't just fight whenever they wanted. In short, there were mixed opinions. The situation continued. On the 4th day, the 5th day. On the 5th day, Mount Donghao lost 50 cities in a row. Even after collecting resources later on, Mount Donghao had lost more than 30 million Saint Spirit Stones. If Mount Donghao wanted to recover to its pre-war state, it would take a considerable amount of time. It could be said that its vitality had been greatly damaged. Donghao Mountain had no choice but to send people to Night Moon Villa to negotiate, but they didn't even see Night Sorrow. However, Mandela's true body appeared and directly stated Yishang's intentions. This time, he wanted Mount Donghao to collapse. Star Moon Lake could fight for 30 years, 50 years, 200 years, or 500 years. They couldn't destroy Mount Donghao for now, but Night Sorrow was confident that he could cultivate to the monarch realm. In short, if Star Moon Lake didn't die, Mount Donghao would fall. Donghao Yunjie was furious. He didn't expect that his son's revenge would provoke such a crazy retaliation. Mount Donghao had compromised, but the other party wasn't done yet. On the 7th day of the war, Mount Donghao's second elder and Night Sorrow met. The second elder's original body and clone were both killed by Night Sorrow. This was a turning point in the war. Not only did Mount Donghao suffer great losses, but also proved that Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of anyone below the monarch realm. Donghao Yunjie and Donghao Ju could only guard Mount Donghao and Mount Donghao City, not daring to go out. They were afraid that their base would be attacked, so they couldn't control the current situation. Donghao Yunjie brought Donghao Ju to Night Moon Villa to negotiate. Mount Donghao couldn't hold on any longer. At this time, Night Sorrow's original body also returned to Night Moon Villa. It was his clone that led people to fight in Mount Donghao. Both sides met at Night Moon Villa. A few important members of Ethereal Imperial City were also present. Night Moon Villa was a residence bestowed by the Battle Emperor, so no one could act recklessly. After meeting, Dong Hao Ju stared at Night's Sorrow. I've already retreated from the people surrounding Starmoon Lake. What else do you want? What else do I want? You're very self-righteous. Are you going to fight whenever you want to and not when you don't want to? That won't do. Night Sorrow's voice was very calm. You're the ones who came to negotiate. Why are you acting all high and mighty? If you can talk, then talk. If you can't talk, then don't open your mouth. Dachira's temper was quite bad. Ju, don't be impatient. We're here to negotiate. Since Lord Ye's true body has appeared, it can be seen that he's not too willing to fight, Dong Hao Yunjia said. Mount Donghao Mountain Lord, you are mistaken. Your Mount Donghao's monarch is gone, and I can't deny the fact that I can't kill an imperial emperor. Therefore, there's no need for me to use my true body and avatars to fight at full strength. In any case, if I encounter you, I will retreat and find another place to kill you. Isn't this a good arrangement? Night Sorrow said as he poured himself a cup of tea. Update square root max v fast 6 on 6 vv haha. Lord Yi, it's a good arrangement and a good plan. If Dong Hao Mountain loses, you can name your compensation. Dong Haojia waved his hand and interrupted Dong Haojia, who was about to speak. I don't want the war to end, but if you want to negotiate, I'll give you a chance. I want half of Dong Hao Mountain's territory, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's words not only stunned Dong Hao Yunjia and Dong Haojia, but also Luo Yuandao, Elder Lan, Wu Feng, and Song Ning, who were drinking tea at the side. Night Sorrow's words were too ruthless. You think I'm going overboard? Actually, I also think I'm going overboard. However, you guys have made me owe you a favor. This favor will be paid by you guys. Night Sorrow's eyes shone with a sharp light. In your dreams, Dong Haojue's eyes were bloodshot. The size of a territory was a display of strength, and also the foundation of a force. Night Sorrow directly wanted half of it. Dong Hao Mountain couldn't accept it. Just treat it as if I'm dreaming. I didn't plan to negotiate in the first place. I just want to fight. My main body will come back, and my clone will fight. This is the preparation for a long war. Night Sorrow smiled and didn't care about Dong Haojue's anger. Lord Yi, are you trying to make both sides suffer? Do you want to fight to the death? Dong Hao Yunjia didn't get angry. He was here to solve the problem. He knew that angering Night Sorrow was useless. I don't think so. Even if my doppelganger is destroyed, I can just refine another doppelganger. Don't think about killing my clone. That will seriously injure my origin. I have the confidence. Even if my clone dies, it's just a clone. I'm still me. As for you guys attacking my Starmoon Lake, first of all, I have the protection of Lord Battle Emperor. Moreover, almost everyone in the Starmoon Lake has retreated. Only a portion of them are guarding the lake with a defensive formation. You guys can attack if you want. I can even give it to you now. Tell me, what do I have to be afraid of? Night Sorrow sneered. After taking a deep breath to suppress his anger, Dong Hao Yunjia asked, You don't have anyone in the Starmoon Lake. Even if we give you a territory, you won't be able to rule it. Also, what do you mean by you owe me a favor? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.